And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a badass and bold new edition of the Fans of Power podcast. We are joined tonight by the good Reverend, all the way from the UK. He's staying up quite late here to grace us with his presence on this tribute episode. And I guess before we get going here, not all the usual suspects are here tonight, but Nasty Nate is here, and JoJo is here, and I don't know what we could call this gentleman here tonight.
Clayton Kellerman.
Clayton. Yeah.
Clayton. Okay. All right, Clayton. I'm glad you could join us here tonight, all the way from Yugoslavia. Is that where you're from, there, sir?
Ex-Yugoslavia, yes.
Yes. So he's Slavic. So people who've seen the Burbs, you know what I'm talking about. And he eats sardines and pretzels for snacks every day. So, but James, glad you could join us here tonight for a nice little tribute to Mr. Reeves.
Yeah, I thought super kind of, respectful episode. The first thing that happens when the title card comes up, so I was watching it on my telly, which has about a 10-second delay. I just start giggling because I saw the Fans of Power logo and like the characters pop up, which I've seen before. And then like Biff Beastman, who I'm guessing is Dushan, pops his head in the corner, and I did not expect that. So I'm sitting there watching it going, oh, this intro is great, yeah. I said, suddenly, like, the little head pops in, I start laughing, and then it comes up like Michael Reeves. I was like, oh, yeah, wait a minute.
I witnessed the whole thing, because I can see all of you down there when the intro is going, and that was actually, I want to take credit for it. That was actually my idea to have Biff Beastman just slide, because I look at Doosan as like that, especially when he mutes his mic, so it's kind of like unmutes, blah, 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 and then he just like, you never hear from him for a little bit, so I'm just like, yeah, we'll have him eke out of the corner there.
That made me chuckle a lot.
Yeah, but it was funny how you were like, ha ha ha, and then it just completely went.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah,
it's supposed to be serious. We do need to get James in the intro at some point. It's like a drunk, preacher or something like that. He like. Josie, can you make that work or something like that?
Yeah. Nathan told me ages ago to draw it. I still haven't gotten around it.
Okay, yeah, because we talked about this a while back because we wanted to make you and Deuce and like permanent members, and we know James can only join us, so often. Sporadically. But we want to say he is officially a member of this family. We got to make him part of the intro as well. It's almost like when, like I said, I think like last week when Batgirl shows up on the 60s Batman show, like in the opening credits.
On a motorcycle, like
on a motorcycle, or swings in and kicks a bad guy. Like, oh, James is on this episode. Oh, this is awesome.
We should do something like that.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because Batgirl is part of the Bat family. She may not be in every episode, but it's a big deal when she shows up, and that's how it is with James. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate the use of Clayton Kellerman as well, because obviously that's from a Michael Reeves episode of Ninja Turtles, one of the best of the series, with thankfully due to very good animation as well. But Turtles on Trial.
Yep.
That one slips my mind.
Off of Morton Downey Jr., I'm assuming? Is that
probably based 100%.
On? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
It's just so much like, even as a how old would I have been when that episode aired? Probably about 12 or 13. Even back then, I kind of knew who Morton Downey was.
Morton Downey. For those that don't know, if you've seen Predator 2, he's in that.
That's how I knew him. That's how that was my introduction to him. Was that not WrestleMania 5?
I'd actually know him from his shit show. It was crazy. That guy was just outlandish as hell. But
so you exactly know that. The show on Trial in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is exactly a parody of that one.
I gotta check that one out.
Is that what does he call them when he good evening? Was it fruitcakes or and they're like in the audience. The audience
he insults them.
Yeah, he just insults them, and then we saw that. We practically saw that on TV with numerous shows that followed. To be honest.
Yeah, it's that type of show like Jerry Springer later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. God, like Jerry Springer. It's so funny when you go back to those days of Jerry Springer. It's like, that was TV for a while, over here in the UK.
You should have seen the cable version of that show. It's even crazier and uncensored.
I mean, I think in the UK, I don't know if it was pretty racy. And I remember like bowling like women bowling, where you were bowling with women covered in oil, and I was like, "What is this?
What?
How's this a talk show?" But it was
that's probably when I stopped watching it, because I was watching it before it took off, like when it was like a regular.
I was there before when it was cool.
I mean, yeah, but then as my brother were watching, it was getting racier and racier. Like, oh, wait, I got to, and then Jenny Jones was getting racier, and like they were all getting.
Yeah.
You know, hey, strippers, former strippers talk today, and you're like, oh man, look, all these girls are so hot. You know,
let's go back to
it's just junk TV.
I'd like to go back to simpler times when we had like Arsenio Hall with the cast of Ghostbusters 2, and it's like, oh,
yeah. Yeah, when those were a big deal, when a star would come on a late night talk show to promote a movie that was coming out that Friday, they're going to show a clip tonight. Oh man, what's it going to be?
Now you poor bastards have James Corden. We shipped him off to you. We're like, you can keep him. And
not much longer. That show's it's going to be over. So
I can't stand him.
I remember. I never watch his. I've never watched his show. What is? I mean, in the chat too, you guys can go ahead and sound off. But James, what is it about him? Because I've seen plenty of people in the UK that are like, he's the worst. He's your problem now. Like,
he's just a very unlikable chap. He's just one of those guys that started off his career quite, worked his way up. It's like, good for you, man. Then he did the whole I'm a jolly fat guy. Oh, nothing hurts me. And then stories start to come out where in public he was just a massive arse, where he would treat people like dirt, and it was just
restaurants or something.
There's quite a few restaurant stories. I know a few people that kind of know him and just like, oh, the guy's a massive arsehole. It's just I mean, like, don't get me wrong, probably works very hard to appear in a movie as fantastic as Cats. But also just like
come on James, you got to work really hard to
exactly to get your genitalia CGI'd out. But his whole career has just been, it's just, I don't know why people hire him. And then I was a big fan of, he does the late show, right? Or is it it's the late show?
Yeah, something like that.
So before him, for about a good 10, 15 years, it was Craig Ferguson, who was a Scottish comedian who I think became an American citizen. Fantastic talk show that was. I used to love that. You can still find loads of clips on the internet. Just excellent. Just talks to mainly women. There you go, Craig Ferguson. Look, that comment, which I'm a bit late to because I'm looking at it 20 seconds later.
Does it not show up on your screen right there?
I wasn't looking when I was talking. I was kind of looking over there, and then it popped. I was like, oh yeah, but
I thought James was talking to somebody else in the room there, like his mom or a girlfriend or something that just comes in. And
says, but yeah, Craig Ferguson's talk show was fantastic, and when he left, I was like, oh, I wonder who they'll get to replace him. As soon as they announced James Corden, I was like, oh no. And then there was that a year or two ago, the big Friends reunion. It's like, here's the whole cast of Friends, hosted by James Corden. It was like,
motherfucker, yeah.
How are you gonna, we got this reunion that like loads of us been expecting. Oh, and it's James Corden. Hi everybody, I'm James Corden, jolly fat guy, and it's like, oh, piss off, please. So yeah, I no love for James Corden. Not many people do. If this gets back to him, James Corden, Merry Christmas. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sure James Corden is gonna check out.
You never know.
Fans of Power podcast.
You never know who's watching this and is like, oh, I've got to show this to James Corden. Like the little snitches. Bitches with snitches,
That's true. They might be right here in this very chat room.
Come on, bring it. We're ready for you.
Waiting for this moment.
I imagine James would look like one of those like old-fashioned like 1930s bare knuckle boxers with with the mustache, curled up there, and does this little number.
He could pull the way his hair is. Yeah, he could.
I could.
He could. Yeah.
I used to do Wing Chun, so I was all about that stuff. It was glorious, good times. But I found Wing Chun really boring because it was just all upper body, and I was like, I like using my feet more. My feet are funny, So it's just like
he's a flexible Reverend.
Yeah, no, I used to be so good. Oh my god, it's so funny when you're so good at martial arts, then you get to a point in your life where you're like, when you do a jump spinning crescent kick, you can't do that anymore. It's like, why? What's going to stop me? And it's like,
I can't picture you doing that. Period.
Oh, I've got old videos of me, like, it's ridiculous what I used to be able to do. But like when I was young,
put them on YouTube. Put them on YouTube. We'll watch them together.
Here you go, YouTube.
You can come to like PowerCon, do like a demonstration of like all they can do, like learn to kick ass, the bust away.
I used to be able to do kip ups like F without hands. You know, the old kip up I used to be able to do it without hands. And then life caught up with me, and it's just like, no, I can't. It's just you get that thing in the back of your head goes, you can't do this anymore. It's like, shut up, voice. And it just, you kind of get scared.
Well, if James comes to PowerCon, then what we can do is we can put an apple on top of Tyler's head, and you have to do a spinning kick to kick the apple.
Oh my God. I can still do a direct kick, really high. But I don't anything. If I tried to spin kick an apple off Tyler's head, it'd probably hit him, and he'd just stand there like a brick wall, and then just break me. Like I must break.
Well, I was gonna say if you miss the apple and hit me, I'm coming after you. So we will at least have a floor show. Like if you miss the apple, then you'll have this is act number 2. You know.
Yeah. Joe eats the apple off the ground.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, he would do that. Yeah. The camera just sees like a hand come in and just grab the apple slowly, or he's like the guy in Bloodsport who's cleaning the mat up and grabs the gold tooth. That's Joe. Yeah.
Oh no. Oh dear.
Okay. Well, let me quickly run the chat. I'm going to try to catch up. I'll try to do as fast as possible. JSP and say it, Nathan.
Johnny Cock.
Fedmon, McDJ, JSP. Oh, I already said JSP. Jesus Christ, I'm already doing it. Rebel Wookie. Daniel Carhoonan. Paul Rick is here. Jenny K. Love you, baby. Adult Collector. The Martian Comic Hunter. Let somebody. What's going on? Oh, God damn it. You got douche and doing shit while I'm.
He's intrigued by you reading off the chat.
Okay.
Keep going,
Martian
Joe.
Comic Hunter. Thompson Farm. Gavin. Brian Brummagem. I'm still scrolling. Will Timpson, my buddy's Customs, Papa Hood 69. I'm getting there. I'm almost there.
What was that last one?
You're good. Papa Hood 69.
Papa Hood 69, and $1.10. All right, and I think I got everybody. If I missed anybody, I apologize. I was trying to do a quick run.
Johnny Cock?
Nathan said it.
I think Deucen just wanted to say it.
I was just reading that comment. James Corden is the Nickelback of late shows.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't want to hear those two names brought up on our podcast again. Fuck Nickelback and fuck James Cordon Bleu, whatever the fuck. Which is probably an insult to chicken cordon bleu, because that was probably
I was going to say, how dare you?
I like those sandwiches, but he's just just fuck from coffee commercials over here too.
Oh, that's a sandwich? A chicken cordon bleu? I used to think
I'm surprised Joe, king of the fast food, had no idea what a chicken cordon bleu was.
That's fast food, though.
Do you know what my introduction to that was? And I thought it was the only way is there used to be this company called Schwann's, and you could order a bunch of frozen stuff.
Joe, we live in America. We are aware of Schwann's.
Yeah. So there was this pastry that was called a cordon bleu, and you could have had chicken and slime in it. And I thought that's how they came. I didn't know it was a sandwich.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
They would also sell vanilla ice cream. When my babysitter would order some, I said, "Can I have some?" She'd go, "Yeah."
I just don't know what was in
it. I'll try to clip that for next week.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh shit. It was pretty tasty.
Joe always forgets, we don't live, in Yugoslavia with Deucen. We do experience a lot of things.
They might have Schwann's over there. You don't know.
Maybe they do. We don't know. Maybe they got Kroger and Food Lines and Winn.
Well, it's the thing. I didn't know if it was a local thing around here. I didn't know if that was a thing everywhere. So I didn't know about that. And plus, I didn't know about the pastry.
Step outside, parts unknown once in a while. There, I mentioned Joe lives in under the dome. He lives in a bubble, where and it's just it's almost like Joe's on the Truman Show,
I think we talked about that before, that it would be funny if there was a Truman Show reimagining, but the Joe is the focus of the project.
Yeah. Just watching Joe make love to a hot dog, if people tune in to watch at prime time.
Oh my God, I think I might watch that.
I know. Imagine
just out of morbid curiosity, to be honest, not because I'm going to be
And James is what? How many drinks did I have to watch this shit?
What are you, James,
zeros.
What are you going to be doing, James?
Oh, haven't you still got the one? There we go.
That was really good for Deuce to because I'm like, I know I was just scratching my leg doing that, but he managed to turn it into a comedic gold there. Yeah, look at that.
Yes, leg, sure.
Everyone at home, you be the judge. Is Tyler just scratching his legs, or is he just trying to tug one?
Yeah, I blink a lot when I perform that action too, don't I?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's
Good
like
time.
a nervous tick or something. Yeah.
So James, what were you gonna do?
Oh, what? I don't think I can do it.
You got to do it.
Because so
Hey,
many
it's a
eyes.
family show.
Dushin will turn you into a GIF.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me try and get a good face going. Hang
Oh
on.
no, do it cross-eyed, James.
Okay. I don't know. I was thinking like doing the old.
Oh, wait,
There we go.
Orko
Yeah.
is better anyway.
Yeah,
Loop
that was
back.
good. Yeah.
He's gonna. There you go. He'll loop
There you go.
that.
All
All
Right
right,
back.
we got it.
Yeah.
That's in the
yeah.
vault.
And cut.
Yeah.
That's in the vault.
Print.
Print. Oh dear.
It was just had like one big circle jerk all of a sudden. Like, everyone was just like, the screens just filled up with nothing, but everybody just,
Yeah.
oh man, the latest Masterverse reveal. Oh god,
Well,
Welcome to Fans of Wankers.
Wankers.
No, wankers of power. Surely.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, WOP. That sounds like it. Yeah.
No,
Just an acronym.
don't say that out loud.
Oh, is that
WOP. That's a a slur to Italians.
Oh, of course. Oh my God.
Joe
Yeah,
offended
of
by
course.
such
no,
things.
Joe's got some phone calls.
Forget the
today.
acronym.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's a knock on James's door. Damn, that was fast.
Yeah, hello.
Well, James, what did you want to tell us about Michael Reeves and some of your
Oh, what a
experiences?
transition.
Yeah,
To
well,
go
hey,
from
man.
that.
Yeah. It's all we know is just complete, knee-jerk U-turns on this podcast here.
No, that's
I mean,
that's
what other way were we gonna do it?
Yeah, that's what life's all about.
It's got to be awkward. It can't be fluid. It's got to be awkward.
Yeah,
and we don't know how long you're gonna hang around, James.
Yeah, because I know
Yeah.
he is pressed for time.
It's 1:20. You know, I'm going to be here for like another 3 hours or something. But yeah, it was like, yeah, a really sad, bittersweet last weekend because obviously, because not to get too much into it, but I for those that know, I do this YouTube channel, and I'd uploaded a video in which I was connecting Dungeons and Dragons to the real Ghostbusters, and just there was this spell that was used in Dungeons and Dragons, then a few years later in the real Ghostbusters, and another reference in the real Ghostbusters. And I was like, do you know how this happened? Well, it's because both episodes are written by the legendary Michael Reeves, whose work on all these shows is cause for much celebration, something along those lines. And I talked about Michael Reeves very briefly. That was on the Saturday I uploaded that video. And then on the Monday, I'd done a tweet and someone said, like, R.I.P. Michael Reeves. And I was like, what? That's like, it's surreal and kind of heartbreaking. I was like, oh my God, that's just so because I've known Michael Reeves, not personally, like I've met the man, but I wouldn't say I've known him personally, but I've known of him kind of work-wise, obviously throughout the 80s, but since when we did the UK DVDs, the Dungeons and Dragons DVDs, this is Contender, where's my mug? Contender. When we did the old Contender Dungeons and Dragons DVDs, they interviewed Michael Reeves for the set and had him do this quite lengthy talk about Dungeons and Dragons. I really want to go back and revisit it now because it's been a long time since I watched it. And even back then, I remember someone, I think either one of the producers said, he's got early stages of Parkinson's. And I was like, oh man, that sucks. And then when he was at PowerCon I wrote a eulogy. I said 2007. I meant to say 2006. I always get those few years confused. But he was at PowerCon in 2006. And yeah, he was at the booth and got to meet him and chat to him. And he was, I could go on and on. But he was just so lovely because, I've met a few writers over the years, and 9 times out of 10, 9.5, 9.7 times out of 10, they're all really lovely. And then you get a few you're like, you really don't want to talk about anything relating to 80s cartoons because it's like, I did that so long ago. Why would I want to? It's just like, because people like it, man. When people say to you, I like that thing you did, don't turn around to them and make them feel like shit. That's weird. Reeves never did that. Like he was at the booth. I was working at the booth at the time, so we were promoting think it was like the She-Ra series or something, the She-Ra release, like the 10 best She-Ra episodes DVD. And he was there, and I got chatting to him about, his time on He-Man was very brief, but he was talking about like the very early stages of working, on the show. And so I think he was one of the first freelance writers, but at the time he was working, even though he's freelance, he was working at Filmation. But he only wrote like, I think, 2 He-Man episodes, Dragon Invasion and Song of Solace.
Song of Solace, yep.
Yeah, I believe, yeah. And his then wife, Jay Bryn Stevens, what did she write? She wrote an episode or 2, definitely. My
I didn't know that was his wife.
Yeah, like her name was Bryn Stevens. They put the J in front of it as a joke, I think. They broke up, I think, a few years, like into the 80s or something. Anyway, but yeah, he was at Filmation Reeves when he was a writer, and then I think he went freelance and then left Filmation shortly thereafter. So I think He-Man was like his last Filmation gig. Sadly, he didn't come back for Filmation's Ghostbusters. Lucky guy. But yeah, he went on to do work at Deke, and for me, like probably my favorite work of his is The Real Ghostbusters, because he did so many bloody. It's so funny. I think I was saying this to Dushan and a few other people. I said, imagine like on your CV, you could say, I wrote the Dragon Invasion. It was like, oh, I know that the most the people that hate the Filmation cartoon, or the most ardent, Filmation's rubbish, will know of the Dragon Invasion. And deep down, they probably like it because it's a bloody great episode. And it's like, imagine if you could say like, oh, I wrote the Dragon Invasion. It's like, good for you, man. It's like, oh, I also wrote The Real Ghostbusters, The Collect Call of Cthulhu. And it's like, oh, that's that episode. Yeah, I wrote that. What other things did you write? Oh, I wrote Batman, Feet of Clay. Oh my God, you wrote it's like we said, Turtles on Trial, or even one that Dushan's made me appreciate the last year, I'd say, is The Return of the Technodrome, the end of season 2 episode. And it's like, he didn't just write one standout script. He jumped into cartoons and wrote like a bunch of amazing episodes. And it's like, to be able to do that, his IMDb got so small on my screen.
Yeah, let's see if I can.
I can see it on my.
I'll adjust it like that so we can see it a little bit better. But
you can try to zoom in the page in your browser.
Yeah, I could do that, couldn't I?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it better on. I'm looking at the telly now. So yeah, Flash Gordon. He worked on The Incredible Hulk. He wrote. I think he wrote Tomb of the Unknown Hulk. Spider-Man, His Amazing Friends. I mean,
which one on Spider-Man, His Amazing Friends did he write?
He
wrote 3 episodes. So
there you go.
Unmasked, Attack the Arachnoid, and the X-Men Adventure. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Spider-Man Unmasked, very, very good episode.
Oh, great episode. That's how you deal with like a great secret identity.
63 episodes of the Smurfs.
Also, can we just say about Spider-Man Unmasked? Isn't that, Dushan, correct me if I'm wrong, and Tyler, isn't that the episode of where it's like they fight Sandman on a building site, and then years later, Spider-Man 3 happens to live action? I remember like sitting in the cinema going, I turned my back, I was like, this is the plot this is like basically the end of an episode of Spider-Man His Amazing Friends.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, and done much better too.
Pole Position. Yeah, I think you wrote most of Pole Position. Yeah, 13 episodes. Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons, in terms of quality, in terms of writing quality, it's right up there with Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a fucking shame that all those animation experts all over on YouTube are just never ever paying attention to that cartoon. It's literally one of the best shows ever made. And that's not me being hyperbolic. It's the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Dungeons and Dragons it's one of those shows, like I think like the first the syndicated season of The Real Ghostbusters, where you could close your eyes and listen to the acting and the dialogue, and it's like, oh, that's what makes the show. The visuals are like the bonus. And I think, I really do believe, like Dushan says, it's like Dungeons and Dragons is one of the best shows. He worked on Bionic 6, only one episode.
Yep. But still, he worked on one of the best shows of the 80s.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he worked on the Teen Wolf show, because I watched that as a kid, but I have not seen it since the 80s. I used to watch it pretty religiously on CBS back in the 80s.
It's funny, looking at this, he goes from he goes from Filmation to Deep, and then to Marvel Productions. Looking at this, or I mean, he jumps between. He's obviously Ruby Spears. Bionic 6 was TMS.
He was also at Nelvana for a while.
Yeah, Nelvana. Yeah, Star Trek Next Generation. Wrote an episode. Captain Power. They had a lot of the old Filmation stuff on that.
Yeah. Which episode of Star Trek Next Generation did he wrote? Yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes, and it's a fine example. And it's a fine example of why season 1 isn't as bad as people love to say. Because that episode in particular, not only does it have interesting plot, but it also has some very, very stellar effects for a TV budget TV show.
I remember, obviously, Duchamp will know, because we talked a lot about this, but I'd never seen Star Trek Next Generation properly, like sat down and watched it until only about 4 or 5 years ago. And I would sit down and kind of watch the episodes. I remember just like really, I really enjoyed the series thoroughly. I kind of went to, sorry, I'm just looking at, obviously I've got this delay so I can see the text better on my telly, but the episodes he wrote for bloody Real Ghostbusters as well. It's nuts.
Oh, the Boogeyman Comet, which is my favorite episode.
Speaking of Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So years ago when I was a kid, the show didn't air over here, so I didn't get to see it until the internet. So I gave it a chance online. I saw the first episode, the Ghost Star Us episode, and well, it was rough, and it just didn't bother with the show. Then sometime later, I found out that there's this episode called The Collect Call of Cthulhu. So I went to check that one, and it was so fucking good. It was the script quality on that one. Like Ghost Star Us is this childish, stupid script, but Collect Call of Cthulhu could have easily been expanded into a movie.
Oh, yeah, you ain't kidding.
Good of a script. Like, it's amazing. Like, I even did an edit of that episode to feature the movie soundtrack, and it fits so well.
Oh, I got to see that then. Yeah, you have that on your channel? I got to see that.
Yeah, it's under a different name so that it doesn't get taken down.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Send me the link for that tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, I will do that after the show.
Guess.
But yeah, I mean, it's his career, like his episodes. Can you look at his Batman animated series?
Yeah, because he's responsible for the Baxter Stockman introduction, the Punk Frog showing up there.
Enter the Fly. I mean, those are bloody I wouldn't say they're the best episodes, but Enter the Fly
episode.
Enter the Fly is great.
I love Enter the Fly.
That was on trial.
Yeah, thing to keep in mind there is that, like, sometimes the deadlines were tight, so it wasn't there wasn't enough time to really do a good script. But when there was time, he knocked it right out of the park with Return of the Technodrome, with Turtles on Trial. Like, he was able to make really, really good stuff.
No love for the Punk Frog episode from you guys? What's the matter with you guys? You guys don't like the Punk Frog?
No, it's a really good episode.
All right. Party bonus.
Father Dowling mystery as well.
And look at that. Best Batman movie ever made. He works on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will never argue anybody who says that's the best Batman movie ever made. 89 comes first, then the Phantasm. But I love Phantasm. I think it's for such a short film, it gives us an incredible origin story for both Batman and Joker in less than an hour and a half.
Yeah,
like literally. Also,
I love Vendetta.
The Clayface debut episode, he wrote that too.
Yeah.
And Vendetta, which as a kid, I was so eager to see Killer Croc. I did not appreciate the build up and good storytelling that was in that episode until I got much older.
It's crazy how much it's
Shadow of the Bat's really good too.
Nobody can tell with a straight face that he was a bad writer. This man cared. This man cared for
Returns. I really
and he treated us all with respect.
Yeah.
And I've yet to see an episode of Gargoyles from beginning to end.
Yeah, likewise. I'm not going to profess to know anything about Gargoyles.
Yeah. I remember seeing the promos for it as a kid, but never saw it Like Fox would air these promos, like it may look like a horror show, and then I never saw the original airings until I think Disney Channel started picking them up. My body's like, you got to check it out, and by that point, I just lost interest.
It's got a very dedicated fan base. Oh, he worked on the 2002 show as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he was he was actually also on New Adventures of He-Man. So he was on 3 Masters of the Universe shows.
I think he was the only one who was on all 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, like, he was also in the bonus features for the New Adventures DVD set. And he talked about how the production staff of the show was instructing him on how to write Skeletor. And they were telling him, like, he's like Jack Nicholson in Batman. And to which he replied, and that's different from how Skeletor was. Exactly what? Like you're literally telling someone who already wrote the damn character.
I've already done. Right. But it's funny. It's funny.
If anything, he should have been the head writer of that show.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
It's like I say, it's crazy though. It's you write in a career, you're lucky to, I guess, have one standout episode. Let alone a bunch of episodes, like jumping from cartoon to cartoon, but leaving your mark is such an amazing feat to be able to do. And it, like, I love the late great David Wise as well. We've lost so many writers in the last few years. It's crazy. David Wise,
Larry DiTillio also.
Larry DiTillio, David Wise, and the funny thing about David Wise, though, but what I was going to say is that he was a writer that I would say didn't take himself or all the shows he worked on too seriously. So the funny thing about David Wise is, and it's common knowledge now, but it wasn't a long time ago, but he would recycle plots like crazy. If you say the He-Man episode Day of the Machines, there's Transformers, Ninja Turtles, and a bunch of others that he reuses the same plot. There's nothing wrong with that. But with Michael Reeves, and this is not me comparing writers, but I think Reeves will always be remembered as just this dedicated writer. It's like, right, I'm writing a show. I remember, like, Michael Reeves, I think, famously said that I'm going to write a script, but I'm not putting this guy's name down as He-Man because that can't be his real name. And then, eventually it turned out to be his real name. But it's just
Speaking of that, like he couldn't take the name seriously, but he still approached the concept professionally, unlike certain production of today that approaches this property and goes, and now Evelyn is going to have cannibalistic parents, and she's actually really this good person, and now we're going to do season 2 where she redeems herself after destroying heaven, which means that she also killed God and Jesus.
I'll hear Joe over there.
I mean, that's the perfect response.
But Joe's giggle we don't hear enough on here. Like, I know
that's true.
Joe's got one of the best giggles that if you get him going, it's a delight to hear.
Yeah.
Come on, let's shit on some stuff some more. Let's really get Joe going.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to wrap it up, like, just by saying, like, I met, like I said, I met him at San Diego Comic-Con that time. He was just like such a lovely guy. Just, like I say, not one of these writers who was just, He-Man or Turtles or Ghostbusters. It was just like, I'm going to engage with this random person, me, about, these shows I used to work on. And as long as you approach someone like that, like a writer or someone whose work you admire with genuine, I think I might have told the story before. The first time I met Tom Tedder-Owitz, like, he was sat at his desk like this. And me and Lee Clevenger went into Gang of Seven Animation. We first met Tom Cito. Anyone who's ever seen Tom Cito is like, hey, and he's just all like bubbly and cuddly and stuff. He goes, Tom, the other Tom Tedder-Owitz is in his office. So we go in there and he's kind of sat at his desk and he's very kind of like a bit of a joke.
Like how Joe's doing now.
And I was like, how are we going to, just we kind of sit there, and he's clearly like, offer me a sacrifice. Not that bad, but just, who are you guys? And the moment I went into my usual waffle, and I was like, I loved it in Sweet Bee's Home when you did this and that, and I started talking about his directorial style. I was like, oh, Triple I Blinks, and he was like, oh yeah, and like Tom went from this to like, oh yeah, he was getting really into it. And I was like, oh, now we, before he was just like, who are these random people walking into my workplace, which is crazy when you think about it. And now it's like, oh, these guys clearly love my work. And it was the same with Reeves. I'm not going to walk up to Reeves and go, I love your work on gargoyles. And he's going to be like, oh, what was your favorite episode? I'm like, the one with the gargoyles. It's like, I'm not going to lie like that. So it's like, oh no, I love your real Ghostbusters, your He-Man, your Ninja Turtles.
I love that your impression, because that's what I feel like so many people do to a lot.
Of course they do.
Yeah, and I'm like, it infuriates me so much that those are the people who get interviews on podcasts, or they're given more time than they deserve because they're not real fans of whatever it is that they're bullshitting about.
Well, not so much too that they're not real fans. It's like, well, if you've got that, do the research. If you're not,
do the research.
Don't try to pass it off like I'm a true fan or whatever. Like, at least do the research if you're not.
Yeah, because eventually, not to be a dick, but you'll be found out. It's simple as that. If you start professing,
James,
I love this. Yeah,
I love James' impression. Oh my! It always like caution, bother. I do love that episode of Gargoyles.
That's pretty good. I'm doing my UK equivalent of the Harvard Lockjaw. Oh,
yeah, I pictured James with like a monocle.
Top
hat. Yeah.
Then he just
passed the bar exam.
Doing karate.
Joe, can you do that voice?
No.
Try.
I would love to hear Joe do like a very posh. Oh, come on, Joey. You can do a good voice, can't you?
No, I'm not good at impressions.
Oh, Joe, the poor bastard. We gotta send him some money so they can get some acting lessons. God. Okay, it got really weird all of a sudden here.
No, I'm just thinking about just.
I still want to do that. If there's any guests at PowerCon, they're like, "Oh, do a good song. I love what you walked on." I feel like I need to act like an asshole like that because I just love James's impression of this fools who do that.
Just sit at the table like this, just waiting for someone to know that you're.
I was going back to what I was just saying there. Like, I remember at PowerCon, I think it was the first one where Earl Norem was there, and
oh my god,
yeah, Earl Norem was at his desk and. Like, I think it's because I grew up in the UK, so we didn't have as much Earl Norem artwork over here. Obviously, if you lived in America, you had the US magazines, the Golden Books. We didn't get a lot of that. We didn't get the Golden Books. We didn't get the US magazines. We had the Ladybird books, the UK annuals and stuff. So Norem wasn't imprinted on me until much, much later. So I think up until probably, God, I want to say like 1997, 1998, I had one Golden Book because I found it at a flea market. I was just like, what's this? And it was like 1984. It was The Secret of the Dragon's Egg. And I was like, oh, look at that. Yeah, look at that cover. And on the back, I remember seeing the back, and it was He-Man versus the Rock Warriors, the one. And he's like taking a swing with, what's that?
Yeah, that's my first exposure to him, to his work.
Yeah,
the Walk Warriors.
The Walk Warriors, and yeah, just like a really. And I was like, "Who's this artist?" So I fell in love with his work. But when I was at PowerCon, I didn't rush over to his table and be like, "Oh my god," because I thought it's not that I'm not a fan, but I'm not that. I saw someone else at the computer. Oh my god, but it wasn't like that for me and Earl Norem. That's no disrespect to the guy. But I remember I was with Leanne Hanna, who anyone knows who's been a fan of the community since the 90s, worked on the 2002 comic book and stuff. And when she saw Earl Norem, that was genuine fandom where like she was like, oh my god, it's Earl Norem, like shaking. I was like, I'm going to get him to sign stuff, and like walked over to his table because she had a table next to me. She walked over to his table, and I took a picture of her talking to her because it was just genuine fandom. It wasn't just like, oh, I love you. It was just, it wasn't bullshit. And I thought if I'd gone over there and gone like, oh, Earl Norem, I loved, since I was a kid and blah, blah, it'd just been like a load of wank. It's just like, that's not true. So I love the guy's work, and it's such a shame that he's no longer with us, but I'm not going to I'm not going to fake love, if that makes any sense, and be like, oh my God, because yeah. And
you hear that, everybody? James doesn't fake it when he's making love.
Yeah, he's no faker.
Yeah. Screw that blue guy. What else? Just in general, like with going back to Reeves, it's just he obviously succumbed to Parkinson's in the end, which is a real like tragedy and stuff. But it's one of those things where Parkinson's kind of robbed him of being able to write. I remember reading his blog years ago, and he was, I think, I used to visit frequently, and he just basically said, like, I won't be able to write this blog much longer because I'm now losing. I think he'd gone from typing to using speech, and then obviously Parkinson's slowly robbed his speech as well. And it's just like, man. So it was kind of, I guess the life he was living was not the life obviously he once had. But it's like, again, I will just prefer or celebrate the fact that Jesus Christ, this guy, in the space of 15 years wrote like all these fantastic episodes of all these different shows. And I always say it's like it's a tragedy. It's such a shame when people pass away, and it's like, oh man. But it's like if someone can look back at your work and be like, I was gutted when I heard the news, but I was also like, Jesus Christ, we got him, to write one episode of 2 episodes of He-Man, but that one Dragon Invasion, which is an episode like one of a few that I think transcends the series. Everyone knows of the Dragon Invasion. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
Yeah, it's a very defining episode.
And it's one of those ones where you go, oh yeah, Skeletor was always comical, always like laughing and clowning. Watch the Dragon Invasion. Find me where he's being funny. Find me where
for example, hey, look at this episode to see how Power of Grayskull really works.
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. It's just this guy, like, was a fucking great writer. Like,
he always understood the damn concept.
I mean, like Duchamp was saying earlier, Dungeons and Dragons is such an underrated show, and when you look at his work on it, like the Dragon's Graveyard is such a powerful episode. I mean, don't get me wrong, like visually it's fantastic. It's one of those, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons for the most part was always fantastic. There's one scene when they first, the beginning of the episode opens up and they're like running from the latest threat, and they end up like Venger blocks their path, and they're like, oh, and they kind of all just slouch outside. This is a kid's cartoon, and there's the heroes just kind of despondently on the ground, just sitting there, all like, backs to each other, because they've lost another opportunity to go home. And there's no music, and I don't know if that was in the script, but there's no music, and it's just you could just hear the wind, and it's these characters sitting there, and it's just so beautifully written how he's writing these kids, but not like little adult characters. He's writing them as kids with like real emotions, like very, very reactive.
Look at Bobby's reaction in that moment.
Bobby's reaction when
like a real child.
Eric trips over his club and he's like, watch where you put your club, and like and Bobby's like, watch where you put your dumb feet. And then it cuts back to and Eric's like, oh, I'm sorry. And it cuts back to Eric and Bobby, and he just starts crying and just like breaks down. He's like, I don't want to be here anymore. And it's like, wow. And then that leads to the whole Hank the Ranger scene where it's just like, we need to do something about this. And there's such, I mean, it's beautifully acted as well. It kind of gives me goosebumps when I talk about that scene when Hank is like, we're going to go like take care of Venger. And Eric just cuts back to Eric and he's like, you're crazy. And Hank goes, you got a better idea? And Eric just like lowers his gaze. So I didn't think so. It's just like, so that's cartoon writing, and that's like, fucking thank God we had Michael Reeves to be a part. All these great fucking writers and actors. So sorry for cursing, but it really was a wonderful time. You had your Straczynski's, DiTilio's, Bob Ford,
Dini,
like I say, Reeves, Wise, Paul Dini, bloody hell. Then you had the storyboard guys at Filmation who were also like, we might try a hand at writing. Bob Ford, Rob Lamb, Warren Greenwood, all these guys just go, let's take our shot at writing episodes. Because they were all coming, especially someone like Reeves and someone like DiTilio, they were coming off this absolute love of sci-fi and fantasy. And it's so funny going back and looking at old, like Starlog maybe, like some of those magazines, and going, that's like this writer who wrote for this cartoon. It's just like they were writing articles about their love of, H.P. Lovecraft or science fiction.
Like Mark Scott Zicree. He's a huge fan of Twilight Zone.
Huge.
And he also worked on Star Trek.
Yeah. Just also created one of the best parodies of He-Man in an episode of Real Ghostbusters ever. The King of Preternia, Power Guy, King, Hero, and Snappy Dresser. And then Peter Venkman, the toy is a star of a cartoon. So good. But yeah, like that batch of writers, it's so sad that, of course, like all of us, not all going to be here one day. It's one of those sad things about the life. I won't get too deep here, but in short, fucking Michael Reeves, what a fucking legend, and forever will live on in us, because it's like every time you watch the Dragon Invasion, there's his name. Every time you watch the Collect Call of Cthulhu, there's his name. Dragon's Graveyard, there's his name. Feet of Clay, there's his name. His name's everywhere throughout 80s cartoons, and it's just like, I think you did all right, mate. He's at the pearly gates going, all right, what am I doing now? They're going, you're going to write God's Life, and he's like, oh Christ.
Okay, he's hanging out with Larry Taylor. They're going to write like a sequel to House of Cards. It's going to be awesome.
We've got David Wise to do a few gags as well.
Oh yeah, David Wise is up there too. He's going to write a sequel to Betrayal of Stratos. He's just getting better and better up there.
And they're just going to look down and be like, "What the fuck are they doing down there?
Yeah,
what are they doing?"
But just one of those very sad things. But like I say, if you can leave this world behind, and people can go, yeah, he was a pretty good dude. And in this case, it's like, oh yeah, he wrote a lot of my favorite things, or even just one of my favorite things. And it's like, you did all right, mate.
And some of the best
zero
parts.
Controversies.
Yeah. Yeah, bloody hell! Like, yeah, you're right.
I want to say this because James, and I know you and Deuce have worked together on a lot of this stuff. But did you have anything to do with the original interviews on the BCI release? I know you interviewed Rob Lamb, but like when Michael Reeves was interviewed for those DVDs,
the only thing I did when it came to the BCI, I mean, I didn't organize them. I wasn't present, but I did write, I think, all the questions for Andy Mangels.
Okay.
Or at least with maybe not the initial release, the 10 best, because they obviously started working on the 10 best, and then Lee Clevenger was on a phone to Andy Mangels and said, "Oh, have you heard of James Eatock?" And Andy Mangels was like, "What's that?" It's just like, oh, he's the He-Man expert, and Andy's like, "There's a He-Man expert? Okay, yeah, I better get in touch with him." And then Andy would send me all the BCI, like all the scripts, and we're interviewing this person and that person. Yeah, that was just one more thing. Like when we did the Time Life DVD box set, obviously we interviewed all these writers, Straczynski, Mark Scott Zickery, I forget so many. All these writers, Mark Edens, all these writers for the box set, and we couldn't get Reeves because of his condition. We really wanted him there, but it's just like he can't do interviews anymore. It's just like fuck Parkinson's. But just one of those things, man.
Well, I know that and this is what made me pop when I watched the interview, because when they ask about the Dragon Event, he talks about Jitsu or Chopper and him being Asian, and addressing like, is there going to be a problem with this character being Asian, like him being a? I just thought that was so fascinating that back all the way in probably 82, when this episode was going to production, he's addressing the change, which you and Deucen have pointed out that Strong Arm was set up to be in Dragon Invasion. At some point down the pipeline, it switched to Jitsu. So I'm thinking, like, hearing all that and establishing what Michael said, like, is he working with Strong Arm essentially, and all of a sudden, hey, put this other character that's going to be a toy in '84, put that in the episode. Like, I just loved him addressing that issue.
It's very strange.
It's pretty much clear that Strong Arm is actually an early version of Jitsu. Because they literally even shared that initial name, Chopper.
Yeah. Because when I first got the storyboards for the Dragon Invasion, I'm like, Dragon Invasion, and see Don Manuel's name, I was like, these storyboards are going to be good. And I start going through it, and I was like, yep. And then I see, what the fuck is Strong Arm doing here? And why is he called Chopper? It was just so bizarre. I'd obviously known of Jitsu as Chopper in the episode because of the script. But then you see the storyboard, it's like, wait, so Strong Arm was Chopper? What's going on? Just one of those things, one of those random things that we kind of know the answers to, but I guess we never truly 100% will know. Someone asked me a question on YouTube and said, do you think we'll ever find out something about a Ninja Turtles episode that Reeves wrote? And I was like, I doubt it, considering he passed away on Monday. It's like, we can't really ask him that question now, can we? It was like a weird message that someone had sent me. I was just like, I don't think I can ask that question now. But it's crazy. Like, looking at my YouTube channel, the videos I've done, it's just like, mentioning Reeves or just connections to Reeves. It's like he really was ever present in all these shows. It's crazy. But the Dragon Invasion is like, what an episode.
Do you want to stick around and watch this with us, or do you?
I'll happily watch it. I don't think I'll be like amazingly. I won't be doing this much, but I'll happily watch the Dragon Invasion.
Do you want me to? Because the link that we have in the description below is actually another VHS rip. I'll go ahead and message you that link so you got it.
And if people want to purchase the VHS, this is what it looks like on eBay. If you want to own your own copy of the Dragon Invasion VHS.
Yeah, if you're going to own one of two VHS tapes. Yeah. That one or the greatest
the Spider Sword. Yeah, and the back too has like it's not a it's a brief episode synopsis, but it actually has an introduction on the back of He-Man and the Master of the Universe. Like most of them have like an episode synopsis of each episode, but this one has like an actual specific introduction to the series, since this is volume 1 of the series. So, and has the as we all know, which we'll see that here in a bit, the alternate intro, which we got to stay silent for. I don't give a fuck about Universal, but that one little bit of the opening sequence, we got to make sure the listeners hear that live, or at least I want to hear it on the podcast live. Damn it!
I don't trust him, man.
All right, fine.
Yeah, it got detected when I uploaded it somehow.
I like the name of the video. Dragon.
God.
Yeah, so James, make sure you have it when you have it pulled up that you got it muted too, so none of the audio.
If you look, while I keep doing this, it's because my phone is on a couple of boxes, so I can. But it's blocking my screen.
I'm sure you've seen this episode enough times that you could probably.
I know it fairly well.
Yeah. You could probably just reenact it right now if you wanted to.
I'd rather not, but yeah.
Going back to the impressions thing, Joe, Jenny says that you're great at them, so
there you go.
What you're talking.
So Joe, you lied to us.
I know. I just. But she's right.
The voice.
Sorry, she got me. She's right though.
Do it.
Which voice am I? What am I doing? I didn't know the proper one or something. Was I doing Skeletor? I didn't know which one you were at.
You're supposed to do the posh, proper gentleman.
You just did it. That was all right.
You came into a shitload of money, and now your hair's slicked back, and you're wearing a suit.
Yeah, I just did it right there. So see, I did do that. I do voices.
You should not Jenny, my dear. I'm going to take you out to Arby's tonight. I'm going to supersize your big meal fries and or something like that. Oh, Jenny, watch me make out with this hot dog here.
And James, by the way, I hope you can make it to PowerCon, man. If you can't, I completely understand, but it'd be awesome if you did show up at PowerCon.
You're right, Alien. You can always smuggle him.
Could. We got to get you out there sometime too, Dushin. That'd be awesome. You never know.
No way. I hate traveling.
You hate traveling?
No way.
No fucking way.
Right.
Yeah, I can't imagine how long of a plane ride that would be.
Or the person who's forced to sit next to Dushin.
Also, the plane ticket would be ridiculously pricey.
Well, hypothetically,
also,
if you were...
Not to mention that I would need to go to New York, and then from New York, wherever the PowerCon is.
Yeah.
But here, let's say in a perfect world, hypothetically, you had somebody pay for your plane ticket, the hotel, all the travel and everything to go to PowerCon. Would you actually go, or you still wouldn't go?
You hear that, Val?
Just hypothetical, really.
In a parallel universe where I don't have anxiety disorder, then yes.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay,
that's a fair response.
I understand. All right. Well, when you're ready for the countdown, you can go ahead. Tyler,
Tyler, give us that countdown.
All right, guys, ready for some action
with that voice, with the Lockjaw voice. Do it.
Oh yeah.
Do it that way.
What the posh voice?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
I think mine's playing.
There we go. Oh, that glorious VHS quality. I love this so much. I'm saving this video because I love the alternate intro. I have to go back and watch James's video a lot of times so I can hear the alternate intro on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I forgot I did that.
Yeah, no, I believe I've watched those videos that you two worked on so many times, just because I would sit and watch it before I go work out, just because I want to watch something He-Man related before I go work out.
Don't ever do closed caption on this shit. Instead of gray skull, it said Brayscope. That's how they actually did to the closed caption. It said Brayscope. What?
Auto-generated has nothing to do with me.
I just want to see what else shit they say. Oh my god.
Brayscope. For as meticulous as you are,
Ranger became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man. I would have seen the same thing. They call him Ranger.
Ranger.
Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress. Okay.
Oh boy, here it comes. Here it comes.
Oh.
I mean, that blew my mind when I rented this as a kid. Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
Michael Reeves.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've said it numerous times, and people probably get bored of hearing it. But I just so much preferred the villains being called the Masters of the Universe, because with the heroes, it's too self-congratulatory. You know, you got a bunch of heroes going, "We're the Masters of the Universe." It's like that's awfully big of you.
Shit.
You're a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who are you, man of few clothes? I'm He-Man, and these are the Masters of the Universe.
I was used to it just from the mini comics.
Yeah, the mini comics is the only way I kind of accept it, because it was just the way it was written. It's like I have no problem reading those. But when I heard it in
pretty much a complimentary in the way the Spirit of Grayskull says it, like you are truly masters of the universe. Like the universe belongs to people like you.
Yeah,
they tried to get it into the 2002 show when he's
so
like,
ham-fisted Masters of the Universe all or whatever he said.
Yeah, that was so poorly done.
But the villains being called the Masters of the Universe, there's something that for me taps into those earliest origins of He-Man. It just sounds really cool. It's like the villains, because as a kid, but regardless of the mini comics, I always considered the show He-Man and the Masters of the Universe were, you know, it sounds crazy, but the likes of Chakotay, Kothos, all these villains that wanted the power or just like to rule the universe. That's what I always considered the Masters of the Universe to be. So it wasn't the villains for me until I saw that intro and I was like, what? And then I started putting the pieces of the jigsaw together and being like, this promo book, it calls them the evil Masters of the Universe. And I just love that term. That's what the villains should
type
do.
of full meaning.
I love this moment here.
Also, by the way, the Havoc stuff is designed specifically for this episode first.
Yeah,
prior to this one, it was the Battle Axe.
It was the Battle Axe, and then that's why this episode I think was I need to look at. I've got production folders for this because Bruce Timm did a bunch of layout artwork on this episode, which is crazy. It's like the Bruce Timm. It's like, oh yeah, the Bruce Timm. But I think this was one of the earliest episodes produced. Hence why when it was released on video, it has that alternate evil Masters of the Universe intro.
Yeah, also was it originally supposed to be part of the Greatest Adventures?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was like Son of Solis, the Dragon Invasion. It was like really random kind of. I think they went for a few versions, but yeah, they obviously had a lot of faith in this episode, which is why it was one of the first 2 episodes that went to VHS.
For as awesome as it is that new Blu-ray set came out, and to have it in that sharp quality, there's something about just watching it like this in VHS quality.
Oh, I got a bunch of Orcos. Son of a bitch! Look at all of them.
Good for you.
That's great.
I mean, $1. That's now, and you're talking Joe's.
Jenny bought me a whole lot of these. She bought me a lot. Wow. Thank you, baby. I love them. Okay, I love Jenny. Okay.
She had a lot of money to waste, didn't she?
Notice how Orko's animation is unlimited.
Yeah. I like that.
I think going back to what Nathan was saying, I think the VHS thing, it's just, I think it's a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
I remember in the UK watching episodes televised like this. Even when you got the VHS release, obviously the UK was PAL, so the colours didn't blend as much. There was a sharper image, but even then, it's just that awesome VHS quality that
and then
people try to replicate these days and totally don't get because they don't know how VHSs work.
No, and it's
I get the nostalgic value of the old broadcast masters, which is why I'm in favor of also preserving those as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I love that Deuce is so adamant about that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
it
to
would
talk
be a
over you,
really
bud.
shame to have those lost to time, because like even right now it's getting harder and harder to find machines that can play that stuff. As James can tell you, when he tried to get the Revenge of Skeletor transferred, like they just the service that he uses just didn't have the appropriate machine to handle it.
No, and they have a lot of machines, but they were like, "Yeah, we can't do these," and I was like, "Oh wow!" But it just sucks.
And then
now we're going to get one of the best visuals in the series. So
yeah.
This is the moment where it shows you the power of Grayskull.
Yeah, that's
badass.
Really
yeah.
Still engaging. Is He-Man dead? Is Adam dead? Is he bleeding on the floor? No. The power of Grayskull protects him. You can't just sneak up to him and stab him. No, when that thing starts,
I mean, who's tickling Joe but underneath the camera there? Like, what's got him going?
It's Jenny. Jenny's down there with the laptop in the chat. Yeah, She's right there with Joe.
I know what Joe is thinking. Joe is thinking, ha ha ha, fuck you, Ted Biaselli. Ha ha ha, fuck you, Kevin Smith.
I mean, kind of, aren't we all, though?
Well, I mean, that's what we do. It's kind of like our what is it? Our not our motto, but like it's like our I forget what the word is for, but that's what we always strive to emphasize is fuck those guys, fuck them all every week.
Especially Rob David.
Yeah, I hope Rob does come to PowerCon. Hopefully he's there representing Mattel, and I would love to put that man to a table.
If you do, I will make sure that I have my phone. I'm like, all right,
please,
get this.
But then if that's the case, then James has to be there, and then Joe, me, and James, and then we can hold up a phone with Deucin on there, so all four of us and Rebecca, we're all lined up at this asshole's table to let him know how much he's fucked up, this property, and who wants a shot at him first? I'm
sure he's a lovely man. Actually, I've met him. I've met Rob David.
Have you really?
Yeah. I met him at PowerCon in 2019.
What's it like shaking hands with the devil?
No, he said he goes, "I'm really sorry what happened with the Faker cartoon." He's like, "It's so weird," and I was like, "Yeah, it's so strange." And
I pictured James said it. Yeah, it's very strange.
So strange, but as for Ted, obviously I've known Ted for years, and we are actually friends. But I may not, like I said before, I even said to Ted, it's like I may not agree with certain things, but
it's nothing on the personal level. Like they could be probably
Kevin Smith. I can't stand anymore. Kevin Smith can.
I'm done with him.
I used to adore Kevin Smith. Like,
me too.
Sorry, I know we're talking about the Dragon Invasion, but just quickly, I used to adore Kevin Smith. Chasing Amy, still one of my favorite films, but I used to adore his. And then he just became like this shill of, I remember Dushan sending me a video where he was suddenly a Transformers fan. It's like, what? Did you watch that as well as a kid?
Yeah, bullshit.
Transformers fan, Star Wars fan, Star Trek fan. He's a fan of anything, and he cries.
I mean, I can't. I've said this before. If someone backed up a truckload of fucking cash to me, it's like, hey, we want you to do this. I'd be like, all right, yeah, I'll pretend I like it. Give me the money. I get why he does it.
Oh no, I understand what you're saying. It's like
even so, you're still kind of a jerk.
But at this point, like, why are people still believing that this is the guy you need to go to rally the nerd community? That if he's endorsing, it's got to be really fucking good because he likes comics.
Yeah.
Because for years he was being presented as our representative.
Yeah, and I'm offended by that because, like, who the hell thought they needed any spokesman to get He-Man off the ground to the masses?
Yeah, it's just a weird, and we'll get another year of it, I'm sure, and then it will just fade away.
It'll go away. It'll disappear.
I said this to someone today. I was like, when was the last time you saw anyone publicly rah-rahing Noel's She-Ra cartoon? It's like that has vanished.
Or even any specific episodes. Meanwhile, here's a show like Filmation's He-Man, and we can talk about episodes like She-Demon of Phantos or Dragon Invasion. by Michael Reeves. We can even name the writers of our favorite episodes.
And here he is, people. Look, it's Jitsu. Yeah. God, I was so pumped when I saw that.
He's sitting, having no back problems yet.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Early days of his career. Got this giant hand. What am I going to do? The funny thing is, I can't remember if I've talked about. I'm sure I've told Dushan about this. When I was at the Filmation Warehouse many years ago, I found like loads of a box or two of Jitsu Chopper stock sequences, and on numerous stock sequences, they gave him like the big hand would flip over, like the mistake that everybody thinks Filmation made in every episode. Like Jitsu would have the big hand on the other side, like he'd be walking, and it's just like, oh, that's really weird. I thought like Filmation obviously proved with Trapjaw. Yeah, they got that mistake. They made the Trapjaw mistake maybe a handful of times, if that, across. Sounds like a pun. Handful of times across the space of 130 episodes or whatever. But with the Chopper animation sequences, it was like they purposely flipped him. And I was just like, oh wow! So if he had been used more, you would have seen his hand just, I got a big hand here, I got a big hand here. It's just like, make up your mind.
So which one? What did that stock sequence look like? What was?
There was one of him walking. There was one where he was. Oh my God, it's been years since I think. There was one when he was doing the diagonal run down the screen, like like this.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, why did you tell Dushan this, but not me? He doesn't like Jitsu. I do. Why did you tell him and not me?
Because it's a secret.
God, I thought, here all these years, I have praised you, I have celebrated you, and you haven't told me.
You say you've pleased me.
I said praised you pervert.
I thought you were pleasing me. I was like, oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
please yourself.
No, Tyler, it's like in Happy Gilmore. It's Secret of the Pros.
Yeah.
That's why we can't tell you.
Oh God, I fucking love that movie.
God. Yeah, me too.
Look at this action scene.
This is awesome. I love this whole shot. Yeah, at night. I love the episodes when they take place at night too.
Yeah, it's
there aren't many.
It's extra dramatic.
Yeah, more dramatic. Yeah, Eternia really comes to life at night with all the mountains and the shadows cast, and it's like the Filmation background artists were just fantastic at what they were doing.
You really could
of course,
break down this.
We've got to talk about the alternate when she appears at the window as the Falcon. Right?
Oh yes,
the error, accidental error that they fixed on for the broadcast.
It's so funny. I always love that look that Evil Lynn gives to Chopper as well. It's just one of my favorite looks. It looks like really like she fancies him, but it's obviously not that. It's just like, oh yeah, it's true. We have just done something really evil. Yeah. I just love that look. It's such a beautifully illustrated Evil Lynn face as well. It's just like,
which is why Skeletor is so angry all the time, because she didn't fancy him.
It was all about the chop.
Yeah.
And I just like the music and the shot.
Look at the interior of Grayskull.
God, it's beautiful. And that shot of Skeletor at the Dragon Troll.
Interior of Grayskull, how mysterious it is. It's not an empty church like on a certain show.
I know. I mean, the one that blew my mind in 2002 was when you saw it with the 2002 cartoon when they did Castle Grayskull. It was just like a castle. It was so bland on the inside.
A mundane castle.
And then with the comics, Emiliano, bless him, was like, I want to make the interior look so much better. So he's put the Sorcerer's Throne in. On the outside, he had the castle, had those kind of, the bottom of Grayskull that has those kind of weird, not organic, but the way the rocks are structured.
Yeah, those petrified things.
Yeah, it just, he included so many things to make it, look more magical. And it's such a weird thing to look at this and go, we're gonna. I've just said what every show does these days. It's like, we're gonna do something better than that, or we know what we're doing.
We're going to make it bland. That's what people like, bland.
It's all about the bland. But it's crazy to me. It's like that. Just Castle. Whatever. Even if you didn't like the Filmation cartoon storytelling. And an episode like this, I don't know how you could.
I'm sorry, I really don't want to talk to anybody who doesn't appreciate the storytelling of it. Because if you don't like it, then I can't relate to you as a fan of He-Man.
But if you, for instance, can't stand She-Demon or Phantos,
I know someone who feels that way.
Yeah. I mean,
explain yourself.
Explain myself. But I will say that. Like anybody who doesn't like the storytelling you just have to look at the backgrounds of this show, and it's like, oh no, this is Eternia. This is literally, they crafted a world. I always remember Rob Lamb talking about how the background artists would approach backgrounds, and I guess this is any talented artist would say, okay, I'm designing the fertile plains, which is on the just on the outside of the royal palace, the big lush green area where Adam often runs behind a bush. Okay, we got to design a bush. How do we make this bush look? Let's make it alien and thing. Or here's a tree. Let's make it alien. Here's a rock. Let's make it. What would an alien?
Hey, speaking of which, remember that development artwork that showed up?
Bruce Zick.
Yeah,
I was literally just about to mention that. Yeah,
worked on the Marvel's Thor.
Yeah, Bruce Zick. It was a couple of years ago on eBay. Me and Dushan stumbled upon this gorgeous development artwork for the show, and he designed a lot of, I would say all, but like quite a lot of the weird visual rocks that you see in Diamond Ray of Disappearance, just like in the background and the foreground and stuff. And he designed this one rock, wasn't it like a hand holding a gun, but it was like a rock.
The rocks that by the cynics get mistaken for penises, but it's fingers. It's fingers of some Jari, all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
It's supposed to be fingers of some super ancient statue.
Yeah.
Aren't those featured in Trolla too? Like in some of the panning shots of like when you're introduced to like Trolla, like in
those
are different.
Yeah, those are different. Those were, I was told by Someone Information, purposely Willie's. So yeah, that's
Wait. Say that again now.
Allegedly.
It could have been just trolling.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Trolling on Trolla, man. I mean.
Oh, so he did there. Trolling on Trolla, yeah.
Like when you look at the structures, they look more like crayons or rockets. It doesn't really look like.
I just hate how everyone has to say anything that looks like a dick. Oh, they drew it to be a penis. I'm like I'm just, save that for the Disney movies. There you can do it all over you want. Just keep it out of He-Man, all right?
Yeah, even those Disney cases are overblown. Like
I agree. I think it's just bullshit.
The poster for Little Mermaid, it was just he was just short on a deadline, and he just drew it fast. He wasn't thinking about, I'm gonna insert a penis tower here.
Insert a penis tower. I've used that line myself.
I could have said penis tower, penis stub.
We go the big epic battle at the end.
Oh god, I love like the shot of like all of them standing together.
Oh, it's great. Remember that from the Sticker album, right? Yeah, that's the
there. That's badass. Here we go. Fuck yeah!
Fuck them.
Aha!
Look at Rambo.
Take that, Jitsu.
Lovable as ever.
And this is a cool shot. Look at
Stratos. I love that.
Look how awesome Stratos is.
Yeah. Hey, now I want to ask both of you guys here. That missing bit of dialogue that Tila says. Like,
freeze, Skeletor. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's Skeletor. It's just like, wait, what? This is where He-Man's drawn with one of the worst swords I've ever seen, or at least the hilt. It's like you see he has giant foot coming.
It's a rarity.
Like, wow. Just
it just looks like you get hold of two hands, bro.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, this what a conclusion! He-Man versus Skeletor in front of Blood Falls on a bridge.
Look at this pan shot.
It's ridiculous. It's so much work goes into that one shot, and it's just.
This should have been used a lot more. I if I was doing something, I would make at least one climactic sword battle be on the bridge of the Blood Falls, man, because this is something that is just so underutilized. I
guess it's one of those things. What makes this special is that it's so rare. You know what I mean?
His head looks weird there, like Skeletor on that one shot.
Yeah, well, I know what Joe's talking about because
always looks like that.
Yeah.
It's
but
such a weird
ice hacker.
They were supposed to draw the hand like that. But it looks like it's doing that. It's like a really weird the way they've illustrated the hand. It's like, poor tiny Skeletor. Oh, he's about to go tiny, isn't he? Sorry, I jumped ahead there. I guess
it's a good moment here.
Yeah,
Bruce Timm drew that. Bruce Timm drew Skeletor holding the Dragon Pearl up to He-Man. That was a Bruce Timm sketch. Well, I value this. Take your last look. You want to see it again, bitch? No.
Yeah, that's a nice moment of showing the difference between He-Man and Skeletor. He-Man would save everyone and anyone, even Skeletor, and Skeletor would literally let you die.
Yep.
But what I like about He-Man's line is it's not like he's almost like joking with Skeletor. I value life more than you do, or more than you do, even yours. It's almost like it's not, well, Skeletor, we should all value one another's life. It's almost like He-Man's mocking Skeletor for his inability to care for anyone.
Yeah,
so even though you're an asshole,
even
you're an asshole, but I
life,
still
you
save
piece
you.
of shit.
Even you should have had that, you piece of shit. I love the way the dragon just nods its head. Word.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, thanks, dragon.
I did like how a shot we're getting to see here was referencing the Greatest Adventures of All.
I knew you were going to go there.
Yeah, but with a different background.
Oh,
yeah,
so cute. Such a lovely shot.
I love that, and the music that plays during that when the sorceress is saying, you'll other adventures for yourself.
I told you before, didn't I? At the warehouse when I saw 4 more windows with 4 other illustrations, I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Oh my god! Do you have access to those? Like, I think
that was 2005. I saw that, and me and Lee were like, "Oh my god!" And it's one of those things I wish I could get back in my brain and just remember what they were. I was just like, "Oh my god, there's different episodes. What the hell?" It was just like maybe it was going to be a longer pan or something, but there was just another pan with 4 different images on it.
Oh my god!
And I'm sure they're in the collection of someone that cares, or they went to San Diego and got chopped up into little pieces.
Oh, don't say that.
That's it goes back to what Dewson was saying earlier. This stuff needs to be preserved.
Damn right.
That's what myself myself and a few others have been trying to do for years. Obviously Dushan does a hell of a lot of like restoration work and an archiving. It's nuts. And yet sadly, I know I won't say his name, there's one guy who's not in the community, but I got him into animation art collecting. And he got all these lovely pieces of art and just hoarded them. And I was just like, what? And I was like, he was phoning me from Canada saying, can you tell me more about collecting? And I was like, oh yeah, and he did look for this, look for that. He literally spunked so much money on animation art. I think he had a pretty good job, and so he was able to. Good for him. But then I remember he said, I've got the original layouts to I Have the Power. I was like, can you send me an image? He sent me the tiniest JPEG you've ever seen in your life. It's just like, what? And it was just, he did send me good photos of By the Power of, because he owns that sequence, Unsheathing the Sword, By the Power of Grayskull. And I was just like, wow. But it was really frustrating because like he never shares any of his things. He just has his artwork. And every once in a while I message him and be like, you interested in selling anything? He's like, no. I'm like, yeah, okay. Cheers.
But you can have this low resolution picture.
Yeah. You want this little JPEG? And I was like, I just shattered that JPEG
this
out.
Sort of people literally act as if a decent-sized picture will devalue somehow what they possess in physical form.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Share that stuff.
He's got a point. He does have a point.
Speaking of sharing, as we always do when we conclude these watch-alongs, I got one, and I'm glad you're here for it, James. I always love it when I can read your reviews of these episodes to you.
This is where I give it a 6. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, well, you're going to find out here in a minute. Everyone's on the
This episode sucks. James Seatok.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Out of all the episodes in the series, this one has to be one of the most action-packed, delivering confrontations and surprising conflicts as the story unfolds.
I agree.
We see a large cast of both heroes and villains, and yet all get a decent amount of screen time, with none of them feeling forced into the script. Skeletor's conquering of Castle Grayskull and his battle with He-Man at Snake Mountain provide the benchmark for all such future conflicts in the series. Yeah. It should be noted that the pacing throughout the episode is near perfection, especially the way in which Skeletor conquers Castle Grayskull. This episode represents everything that is good about the conceptual beginnings of the series. James Eatock, 8 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, I'll agree with that.
There we go.
It's not a 10 or a 9, but yeah, I'll agree with that.
Only 8.
Only 8, James? Come on.
Bastard.
Yeah, I think I would have given it a 10 out of 10.
I know, I can appreciate that, but like, for me, well, so at least when I was reviewing the episodes, my episodes were like character heavy. Obviously, this isn't a character; it's a character heavy episode, but not a character driven. You know what I mean? It's not a Dini episode, but it is obviously, I'd say, probably one of the best action adventure ones. Oh, action adventures would always come down a point or two, but like I say, yeah, it's a classic. There's no doubt about that.
So no revision on the score. You're not going to go any higher.
Maybe
like, you can always check the official version of the guide. Maybe it's different
I don't think I changed anything in the scores there. I gave it a 6. I'm like, oh Christ.
This book's so heavy.
Yeah, I don't think James made any changes because I think we went through there hoping he made changes, and I think he.
Let Nathan exercise his muscles.
What's funny is I turned pretty much right to it. No, it stayed the same. 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he say something in the trivia maybe or something like that?
Making me open up again. This time I didn't turn to it.
You gotta read. It's good for your mental health.
Reading?
Yes.
I don't.
Educate yourself.
I wish Deuce was
Don't
like
be like
going around to
Joe.
like schools, like trying to encourage kids to read.
Motivational speaker.
Yeah, Deuce and Mitrovic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Read a book, you little shit.
Buy James Detox's guide.
Yes,
Right now.
yeah. He's out there pimping the He-Man encyclopedia, like the guide, like to all these elementary school kids. That'd be awesome. If that's what Deuce was doing.
They're like, what's this old gay cartoon? I'm like, chill, kids.
Do you want to get beaten with this book?
I'm sorry, but I don't know. I've never understood this too. Like, how was that image considered like pimpy? Like it's lame.
What?
Like kids would say, "Oh, that's gay" or something like that. Like what James just
never
was
even
referenced.
saw
Like,
that image, Tyler.
but I'm just saying, like, you know, as a child, you're seeing a guy with muscles carrying a big sword ready for action. How was that not macho in the epitome of alpha
Because
maleism?
a person on YouTube said so.
Yeah.
That's right. And all you got to do
what
these
the fuck
days on
was
the
I
internet
thinking?
is that's fact.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
everything's
prior
true on
to
the internet.
that, you had pop culture websites like Cracked.com, and prior to that, you had VH1.
Yeah. It's got a point.
Yeah.
What
I
am I
think that asshole Michael Ian Black for making references to say that He-Man was like a big homosexual joke. So if I ever get a chance to see that asshole in person, I'm gonna smash his head clean out of his ass.
What am I looking for in the trivia here?
Anything of interest.
I do. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. You want me to just read all of it?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you are being schooled. Yeah, you gotta learn. You gotta read.
Yeah, I gotta help my mental health.
Yeah.
This episode was loosely based on the Filmation script premise Dragon Seeds, in which Beastman commands a deadly dragon to lay eggs across Eternia. When writing the first draft of the script, hey, here we go, Michael Reeves was unable to take the name He-Man seriously, so he used a pseudonym for the character throughout. Wonder why that is. Well, I guess when you really think about it, He-Man kind of does.
Well, Tom Cedar said the same thing.
Because
So.
right there, because it was so earlier in the franchise, the name He-Man was making older generations think straight about those old comic book ads where you have
the old
this
beach
hot
bully.
guy kicking sand into the scrawny guys' faces and taking their girlfriends.
Mr. Atlas muscle ads and stuff like that. Yeah. Plus, He-Man was like a chauvinistic, like we don't hang out with like the little rascals.
Derogatory term,
yeah.
Like,
You
pig-headed He-Man.
It wasn't until Filmation's He-Man that the term changed for the more positive meaning. Like today, I don't think anyone thinks of those old ads. Everyone thinks of Filmation He-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I was just looking. I'm like, I could. The trivia is all in this one. I could just sit closer and not have the heavier book here.
Yeah, but that won't get your muscles bigger.
I don't.
See, I know Nathan's reading from the kind of like the revised First Testament. I have the original Testament here, the Old Testament here, and this is the one that's I won from Chris Vent's podcast that James.
Oh wow!
Holy shit!
Yeah,
right.
So this goes back old school. Yeah, I was like, well, oh my god, James, you talking like said my name in this book. And I was like Chris Farley.
And now you're here talking to him right now.
I know. It's like, hey James, you remember that one time you talked about He-Man? That was awesome.
Chris Farley bit.
That should have been a movie that SNL did. You know,
absolutely.
You know, like Coneheads, like at the Chris Farley show movie. That'd been awesome.
Yeah, they're too busy doing It's Pat or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was disappointing.
I was just thinking in that note, did I write something like "Keep up the muscle building"?
Yeah.
No,
read the note.
I don't think James. I think I don't think I had even conversed with James. Maybe I did, because this was like, I mean, this was, I'm trying to think, because this would have been like 2000, I think, because I was living in my first apartment like in like 2009. I remember listening to the Chris Vince podcast, and Chris contacted, hey, you won the contest. It's to Tyler. Cool. Congratulations on winning this book via Master of the Universe Chronicles. Enjoy the numerous in-depth facts this book has to offer. By the power of Grayskull, you have the power. With a little face.
With a little PS, fuck you.
If only. Maybe he could sit, there's the little face that
oh yeah, the little kid. Yeah.
Jim S.
Look at the penmanship there.
Says Jim S.
Yeah, Jamie S.
Jamie S. Yeah. There it is.
I underlined a lot of things there, didn't I? Congratulations.
See? I guess James thought I was stupid. Or just assumed like this is going to some bloody American. Here you go.
He gets on else.
I'm winning the big contest.
Who had to eat the shipping cost on that, James?
Chris Vint did.
Oh, okay.
I think because Chris had the copy of it.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Dude, you really want me to read like all the trivia in here?
We'd be here all day. Don't you want to get some questions for James?
Yeah, go on.
Read, Tyler. Read.
I still can't go to Joe's hair. It always catches me off guard.
Trivia.
How long is your hair, Joe's?
Yeah, it is. It's really long.
He's overpassed. Like he's surpassed me because I trimmed mine a little bit. He now has the longest hair of the men on the show.
Joe, what shampoo do you use?
I use Mr. Bubble 4-in-1 conditioner, shampoo, something else. But
are you serious?
I'm dead serious. It's fucking awesome. It's good body and bounce. It smells nice. It's 4-in-1 Mr. Bubbles.
Doesn't Mr. Bubbles give you like urinary infections too, Joe?
Oh my god!
Holy fuck!
Shit, look it up.
I
found it at Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was at Dollar Tree, and I was like, this is
yeah.
awesome.
Well, there you go, Jenny. The next time you shack up with Joe, you might want to I don't know. Well, it speaks for itself. So Jenny, I don't want to see any harm come to you, but maybe too late.
It's good.
Look at this shit.
Look at it. It's awesome. And it's tears free. It's
Yeah. It's a shame she might try to throw that shit in Joe's eyes.
No, Joe. Here's Joe sitting in a fucking bathtub with he's got the Mr. Bubbles in his hair. He's got it like sticking straight up. And he's just like farting in the tub. And it's like, oh, that one got away from me. And then a little turd just floating in the bathtub. Holy
it's good shit, though. You'd be surprised. It does give good bounce to you.
Can we please Photoshop a Modulok mask right there in the place?
Yeah. Put like a warning that would make you piss blood or something like that.
Yes, Photoshop that. We'll put it on a T-shirt. And we'll sell it on TeePublic.
But it's actually fragrance.
Trivia.
Wait, real quick. It's fragrance free too, and that fragrance. That's like bad shit. You got to avoid the fragrance stuff. So you always got to look for products.
Because Joe's such a stickler for safety.
You got to look. Oh, hey James, real quick. I bought your book too. I bought that book a long time ago when you first had out. So I got that, man. I had more money back then, so I bought that.
Which version?
Oh, bless you.
The original, the one that Tyler has. I have.
This is the First Testament.
Yeah,
good thing that you didn't say. Well, all of them.
I'm late to the game, but hey, I still got it. Still some games.
Oh shit. Well, if there's any questions in the chat, pop them in there because
first trivia.
All right, Deuce. I'll tell you what. When we're done, I'll read you some trivia before you go to bed. Would you like that?
Be like bedtime stories.
I'll be like, here you go, Deuce. I'll read it in my posh voice until you get tired of it.
Here's a comment from Papa Huds. This goes back to when we were talking about Kevin Smith and why are they picking him to be the forefront? Papa Huds still appreciating this. That's why I liked your He-Man pitch, Tyler, and the point you made about not needing a hype man for the show. A good trailer will do the job.
Exactly. You need good trailer music, good edits, and
not to harp on about it. Go back to the 2002 cartoon. They just dropped a trailer.
Oh god, that trailer would just no voices except for the very end. It was just nothing but dramatic music and action. They're like, oh my.
And it just served its purpose. It was like, here's a new He-Man cartoon. We're like, oh my goodness. And
yeah,
I still think that show deserves so much
real media format. And you could download it in real media format.
Yes,
if anyone remembers that ancient format.
Yeah, no, I remember that ancient format. Yeah,
I remember watching on He-Man.org because they had uploaded that, and then when like the Toonami promos they had aired too, which are still on YouTube. Some of those promos are still on there, and because I remember watching those, getting hyped up for August to come around. Like, oh boy, it's coming! It's getting here! It's getting here!
That's
You think I can get away with sharing the it's now unearthed, it was lost, the He-Man Cartoon Network NBA 2003 All-Star Slam commercial?
I remember that when it aired. I thought that was so stupid. Because
I don't know if you should try.
It was so worthless, that whole segment.
I won't try it.
You're going to try it? Okay.
No, I said I won't try it.
Oh, you won't? Good. Okay.
No, but it's cool that you're bringing that up because that was like a newsworthy thing. I was like, oh, this has been... It's been found and it's uploaded.
Yeah, I remembered that, seeing that years ago. I even thought I recorded. Yeah, I thought I recorded it because I recorded every episode of the cartoon.
Yeah, I probably did too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like maybe it's lost on something, but I couldn't find it.
I find it interesting how that basketball player is talking about Filmation He-Man.
I know, and they're showing that.
And at one point they have 2000X He-Man strike up the Filmation pose. And they have to cheat a bit to get his hand around the blade.
Yeah, I can understand what they're doing. It annoyed the hell out of me because I thought, because he's talking about how he grew up with He-Man. It's like, but this is the new one. This isn't what you grew up with. I want to see.
Thankfully, at least 2000X show was actually good, so it wasn't like infuriating.
Yeah.
Like for example, if it were Revelation He-Man, then you would be like, who the fuck is this imposter?
It's funny you guys talking about how you were seeing the trailers and stuff and previews online, which is something I couldn't do because remember I had my Dreamcast, so I couldn't see video nothing. But
Dreamcast, you had your Commodore 64.
Pretty much. But the only thing I could do was hear audio, and I remember hearing the audio sample of hearing, by the power of Grayskull, and then I have the power. I was like, holy shit! And I must have played it like 50 times in a row. I felt like I was in the future.
Quality.
I know, but that's all I had. I was so goddamn excited. You guys are seeing clips and shit, and all I'm hearing is sound. I was like,
awesome. Honestly, Joe, with like the real media and the real player shit, like it was so inconsistent with how well it wanted to play, depending on your connection anyway. And you're thinking, time period, it was all dial up anyway. So
like 16 megabytes would take up like 4 hours to download.
Yeah,
when we used to do the episode review website, like. We had, I think, one of the first episode of your website, we had 5 megabytes of storage. So in order to, every weekend we'd have four episode reviews up. Sometimes it'd be 1 new and 3 repeats, or sometimes it'd be 4 repeats, like 1 new the following week. So I'd always update the website. But every Friday night, every Saturday morning, wake up. Every Saturday, this was for like however many years that website ran. Wake up, go on the FTP. Delete the existing website, all the files.
God, FTPs, holy fuck.
Yeah, everything except the main page. So
what was that called? You said what? EVPs or what was that?
FTPs.
What does that mean?
File Transfer Protocol.
Yeah.
So basically, it's basically like your website. It's like, there's, what was that website? HeManShe-Ra.com for a while. So there's www.HeManShe-Ra.com, and you'd have like a dedicated program on your computer. And it would just be like one window is the website, one window is your home computer, and just drag all the files across.
Yeah.
And it would take like a good couple of hours just to upload because I was on a 26 and then 56K modem.
Yeah.
Even shorter if someone picks up the phone.
Yep.
Oh my god! Like
that's the fucking worst.
I think we had a dedicated internet line a few years into having the internet, but like in that first year, like 95, 96, that was a proper ball ache. But I've still got video footage because me and Zadok, I think I've talked about it before, we used to send each other, well, I say we used to, and he did it very briefly, but I think in 97 I sent him a VHS tape of like, hi Zadok, I'm James, my braids and everything, I'm James Etok, here's some clips from cartoons I like. And then he sent me one, and then the next one I sent him was me like updating the website and filming, like, here's what I'm doing here. And I was video editing in 97, this was. So you see me like video editing like one of the old Halloween videos. I've still got that footage. It's crazy to watch back.
That sounds like a good material for a video on Serial Geek.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like, I think there is potential for that. Yeah, I've thought about that before, because obviously I've still got the very brief footage of, because I want to make a video about the Filmation Warehouse and like how it's, it's in Los Angeles, it's in San Diego, then it was
You could make a video about how you guys were searching for info on this show, how you were trying to find out how many episodes there were.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's
days about those dark early days of the internet where there was no information, because it would be really fascinating for average viewers to see how much effort you guys put into that.
No, absolutely. Like a good kind of groundwork is that I think it's either the introduction or one of the things in that official He-Man She-Ra guide is like I talk about those early names in the community where we were all trying to figure out how many episodes there were, and then Leanne Hannah, who I mentioned earlier, her husband was the one that went, I've got 2 episodes. Is that of any use? It's like, oh my God, what have you got? And it's got Reign of the Monsters. Like, we don't know what that one is. Write it down, and Once and Future Duke. And it's like, oh my God, there's another one. So it was crazy getting all these episodes over the course of time. But like when I still got my emails with Larry DiTillio, and I was like, the Larry DiTillio? I was like, yeah, chat. And then I said, how many episodes of He-Man were there? Because we didn't know. And he was like 65 season 1, 65 season 2. And I said, She-Ra? And he said, just 1 season. Because he didn't know once he left She-Ra, there was another 28 made. So that's how little we knew. And then someone turned up and said, I've got these 14 episodes of She-Ra. So there's another 14. And someone else came along and go, there's actually 28. It was like, there's 28 season 2 episodes. Utterly like mind-blowing, all that stuff. And me, I had like a page on my website. It was like, who remembers these episodes from my child memories? And it was, I'll never forget, there was like Fisto and Spike, or battle to win the day or something. That turned out to be the games. There was Yellow Robot Attacks Eternia. That turned out to be Return of Evil. There were all these like vague memories I had, like Chakotay. I remember the Chakotay episode. I first saw it in '85 when they aired, because obviously it took ages for them to air all the series over here. So '85 was the first time I saw that episode. It wasn't until beginning of '96 that I saw that episode for the first time again, when Scott White sent over a tell. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting to see all those episodes. But it was also putting names to episodes. It was crazy. It was like such a wonderful time to kind of experience all that stuff. It's so funny that people take episode guides for granted, or even just credits or writers or facts or trivia, and it's like series Bible. It's like, we uncovered that shit. It was crazy.
Do you ever think about that like because of you, like that's how all of this started to really get out there to
I think it would have, I know it sounds weird, I think to a degree it would have got out there anyway, but not with the same kind of care and passion, because I was myself and a bunch of other Zadok, I know he's long gone from the He-Man community, but we were just so intent on celebrating and learning about this stuff. Robert Lamb played a big part in that. Rob Lamb turned up one day and said, I've got a bunch of stuff if you want me to send it to you. No, just sent us all this stuff. It's like, oh my God, a He-Man storyboard? What is this? It's just crazy. And
I'll be honest, James, though, I think without you, it wouldn't be the same. You're saying it might have turned up, but
the Series Bible. The Series Bible wouldn't be available without him. Because take, for example, Ninja Turtles. Where is the Series Bible for that?
Yeah, the shit would have been buried. Somebody would have kept it in their collection. They would have never shared it. So
right under their ass.
I was going to say, obviously, Fans of Power knows all about me, uncovering something and showcasing it immediately with the
You're Jesus Christ, with the purple dick guy or whatever. Oh my God!
Hero in the Land of Legend.
Oh my God!
Shit. We lost our shit. You guys want to go back and watch that episode? Holy
that was one of the funniest experiences ever. That just, I still laugh at it to this day.
We were done.
Every time I turned because I got it and had it for like a couple of months or so before I showed it on the podcast. Hadn't read it, and there's me reading it, laughing and showing pictures, and going, "What is this?" And Joe's pissing himself laughing. And it's just like, "Oh my God!"
Now you know how Filmation people felt when they pitched the show to networks.
Oh,
they probably had the same reactions.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah. What is this?
Stop laughing! It's serious.
Stop laughing.
James, look how that turned out. You were, when you messaged me and you were like, "Yeah, I might come on for 5 to 10 minutes." And I was like, "James, it'll probably end up being around 2 hours." And I did. I said, "It'll be 2 hours, and you'll feel like it was 5 to 10 minutes." But I knew you weren't going to last just 5. I knew you'd be here the whole time. It wasn't just going to be 5 to 10. But
forever and ever.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not going to wrap it up, but I did want to ask Nathan something. Nathan, did you want to share anything about what Rebecca right now is in a contest?
Oh, yeah.
Did you think maybe? Yeah.
I'm going to.
So was
I'm going to put these links in the chat. I'm hoping that they will show up and be workable for everyone to click on. If not, I'll go after we're live and put them in the description. But
and I'll give context.
Yes, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, right now, Rebecca and John, they both are like in a cosplay contest to where the first place prize would be $10,000 and to appear in a magazine. And I mean, you know, the time, the effort, the money, everything that they put in these outfits, and they never ask for anything from anybody. And they don't even enter half these contests when they go to these conventions, you know, and I figured they would win no matter what. But it's like when I'm seeing what they're up against, and you could tell some of these people just don't give two shits. They're literally putting on a fucking wig and a slap of paint on their face. They're like, look at me. But because they might have some friends, they're getting a lot of votes. So I'm asking for the He-Man community to actually come together. Check out these links. Look at the fucking shit that they put together. And you know that they're putting love, care, time, money, and everything. Give them a vote because there's free votes. That's how you can do it. And maybe if the He-Man community comes together, she could actually win. And I seen that shit and I was like, oh my God, my brain like fucking exploded with the horrific, like, look now, you see Rebecca's in, the first place. Go ahead.
She's in fourth place. That's kind of weird that my cursor.
Well, and she's behind like Raggedy Ann.
She's behind a fucking cybernetic Raggedy Ann who's, I don't know, God, that's fucking horrible. Somebody with a glow-in-the-dark outfit. And look at first place.
What the fuck is that?
That's what I said. And look at the first place. She's got a wig.
What is that supposed to be?
Yeah, but Joe, she's got a lot of underboob going on there.
See, there's the answer why she's first.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. That just fucking annoys me. But literally, I got a wig from Dollar Tree. I shop where Joe shops.
Literally face paint on.
It's terrible. It's like, what in the flying fuck?
And then these people are like, oh, don't objectify us. Like, fuck you. You're being forced.
Show John.
I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but seriously, who the fuck are you fooling?
And John's got his category he's in. And of course, as you know, John made his entire outfit. And I think he's either in 5th and 6th in his group. But the stuff he was up against, again, there was another person that had a wig.
Did he dress up like the character from your favorite cartoon from your childhood?
Oh, see, there he is. He's in.
That's the question. Because on Facebook, I saw him cosplaying as Major Blood from G.I. Joe.
Oh. Well, look at this. Now he's in 7th. Now look at first. A paper mache fucking green goblin. It's paper mache. Look at that horse shit. And look at the other person. I got a jewel on a fucking ear.
Is he a gorilla or a Batman?
He's gorilla Batman. I don't know what the combination because it's a big. It's like, and then the third place she's got a wig and a shirt.
What is he supposed to be?
I don't get it. I don't understand this shit.
There you go.
Dark
that must be some like anime shit.
And look at the ear one. Show the ear with the jewel in the forehead. It's like, oh yeah, that's a head of John. It's like, what in the flying fuck? So
what is it supposed to be?
I don't know. I don't know what half this shit is, but it's insulting to think, yeah, that's the head of John.
John, I can clearly tell it's Bosk from Star Wars.
Some of these just look like dating app profiles. It's really
yes, they do. Yeah, and maybe they're like Tinder profiles. You know, just uploaded on there.
Somebody, Jenny actually showed me. I think she said somebody actually just showed a picture of like a piece of a cartoon, and they're how are they entering?
Nathan, could you show me? Could you show us each of those? Like,
Joe, you need to enter the contest with just you wearing your mask.
That's what I told you. I was just going to get your mind reader, Tyler, because I was just going to say it. So I told Jenny, I was like, I'll enter the contest like this.
Yeah, Modular from He-Man and the Master of the Universe.
Yeah, but without the shirt. Without the shirt, Joe, then you'll be able to win.
Yeah, without the shirt and flexing and everything.
Yeah.
Oiled up.
Joe shows some like under pepperoni nipples there, you know, just a little bit of them there.
just unreal. So yeah, everybody that's watching right now, and if you're listening, try to go to these links.
I'll put the link. I'll put the link in the description afterward. That way,
yeah, because you can vote. Just to let you know, you can vote once a day. I think there's 6 days left, but you get one vote that you can do each day. So each day.
It says here, because Joe had kind of given a little bit of context, but they have it on the top of the page. One creative enthusiast will take home $10,000, a 2-page feature in Star Magazine, and 2 3-day badges to Rose City Comic Con. Cosplayers from every universe are coming together to help deliver happiness through the Starlight Children's Foundation. So at least it's like for a good cause.
Yeah. But holy hell, some of that shit, I was like, you've got to be fucking. It's an insult.
Some of them are cheating.
Well, there's probably.
I don't think in cosplay contests Spider-Man should ever be allowed, because it's literally like, I'm just going to go and buy a Spider-Man costume.
And that's what half of these people are doing, are just buying costumes or putting on shit, but they're not making, like how John and Rebecca, that fucking in-depth stuff.
They're putting effort, because all they're thinking about is $10,000, easy money. What do you do?
Easy money. I'm entering next year as this though. I will.
I mean, like Jason said, they're all whores.
Yeah, but again, like literally, when half of your tits is showing up, like, what the fuck are you?
Oh, that's what we need to play. That clip from Conan the Barbarian. Nah, they're all slots.
Yeah, you got to send that to me. Here's a question from JSP. Says, stupid question. Can the sorceress maintain her human form, human form outside of Castle Grayskull? They've not been the most consistent when it comes to that.
Technically, she's not supposed to, but she has.
There's 5 episodes when, like, the rule is either accident. There's like shaping staff.
Mr. Many Faces is one.
Mr. Many Faces. Origin Sorceress. She has the.
Many Faces is the only one that really breaks it.
I don't know, shaping stuff. Like, she does like
shaping stuff. She's at least near Castle Grace. But with Mr. Many Faces,
I mean, she just shows up at the Widget's Fortress, like, here I am, you know.
Here I am. Wanna beat the shit out of me? Wanna fight?
I'm trying to think of
It's like a fucking Russell Crowe South Park. Oi,
yeah.
Oi, you wanna fight?
Sorcerers fighting around the world.
Yeah, and she is what she's doing.
Want a piece of me?
Going against James Eatock with his mustache and his hair.
We've seen a lot of the mini comics do it as well too, so there's really no consistency.
Yeah,
with that.
Well, they even address that in the Search for Cobra comic. Like they say, you're not supposed to show up outside of Grayskull, and she says, "Well, things have just changed. Since the towers have shown up." Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even before, I think like some of those. Remember some of the other early ones? Like, it wasn't even an Extension of Evil or something, where she was like,
"Could have life."
Yeah. She shows up to talk to Moss.
Extension of Evil.
Yeah. So that's what I said. Yep. Yeah.
Bear in mind, with mini comics, you had all kinds of writers. Some just wanted to do it for quick cash. Others cared. Others. Less
like Christy Marks. I still would like to tell Christy Marks how thankful I am that she wrote Clash of Arms. You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy that a lot of that was just kind of, I don't want to say kept from us, but just unknown. That it was just like, oh, wait a second, what? You know, Christy Marks worked on He-Man. And, she worked on, didn't she work on the initial newspaper strip pitch?
That early pitch that Larry Houston.
Oh, that was so awesome looking. God damn, that looked great.
But the downside is that it was based on the Halperin Bible, so it was directly referencing Evelyn Powers.
Yeah. Evelyn Powers.
Which I could forgive stuff like that because it was still in the conception period and stuff like that. So that's why I don't,
Actually, no, this was like...
I think it's about like 86, 87.
Wait. Okay, I guess I'm thinking of something else then.
It was probably her first gig on Masters of the Universe.
Which I guess if she was to go look at the Bible, well, no, that would make no sense because if we're talking about Christy Marks, right?
Yeah, but
she worked on Clash of Arms back in '84.
But when it comes to reference material, Mattel wasn't exactly careful with that stuff. Like, they would literally dump a pile in front of you and be like, here, write a story.
Which I know Paul Dini even said that too when he worked on his episodes. They just would give him the toys. He had no idea who was a villain, who was a hero. It was just here they are.
Paul Dini is cynical.
I don't buy into that at all. Well, that's crap. Like, no disrespect to Dini, but Paul Dini was there along with Robbie London and I believe Michael Reeves working at the studio at Filmation because they were on staff developing He-Man. Like, Robbie London was your main guy, and Dini was there at wasn't just given a dole of Teela and told, like, he had to write the story, and you had Halperin Series Bible, which was obviously a huge influence, and then you had Robbie London's version of the Series Bible, which was the more Filmation one. There was still the sword against stone thing, although the Bible says, like, red pen, don't do this. But
it was typical for that stuff to have early ideas that would get refined for the final product.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But like, there's no way Dini didn't know these characters were. He wasn't just chucked like. I'm trying to think. The only episode that always sticks out like a sore thumb in terms of Dini episodes is To Save Skeletor, because I think that was either a season 1 episode that got held over, and then they just went, get rid of Ram Man, replace him with Fisto, get rid of this character, replace him with Whiplash, because it's the only episode from season 2 to have Dini's name on it, and it's shared with Beth Bornstein. So I reckon that was like a season 1 maybe script that he'd worked on, and then Beth Bornstein or whoever came in and like rewrote it and kind of made it To Save Skeletor.
I'd wondered about that too, and I guess that's probably the best explanation, is that it was something he worked on before and it never.
Yeah, we obviously know quite a bit about the formation behind the scenes. They shelved scripts, as simple as that, and sometimes they'll dig them out and dust them off and go like, right, let's try and use this. But other times, shelved script. I've got the Nomads scripts. Rob Lamb wrote Flight of the Fairwind.
Oh God.
That's which Rob himself admits not one of my best efforts.
Like if you guys ever read that script, you would try to commit suicide.
Oh, avoid that.
Did you want to hit James with one more question before he gets out of it? Because I know it is getting late for him. It's like probably 2 in the morning.
I mean, this isn't specifically for James, but this comes from Lacey Dean. Why is Tyler always threatening violence?
Well, people listen to it because when you inflict it, they don't forget it. So, I mean, no one's going to forget getting their head smashed out of their ass.
No, that's what I think. Now that I really think about it, pretty much at least once an episode, maybe. Maybe we might skip 1 or 2 every now and again, but where Tyler's like, yeah, clean out of their ass. Clean out of their ass. I'm like, all right, yeah.
I just remember, Tyler is not violent. I mean,
he's actually not.
Yeah, he's not. No, he's not.
No, like I'm very. I keep to myself. I'm quiet. People tend to approach me over stuff, and I'm like, I'd rather just be left alone.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Than Gandhi.
I am, but I eat meat.
I got to admit, I was watching one of, I can't remember if it was the Bionic 6 episode or the She-Demon episode recently. I think it was the Bionic 6 one. And Nathan shared that photo of you and Tyler next to one another, and it's like they're the same height.
Yeah,
they're both 5'5". That's crazy. Imagine if I met you guys, you're like, all right, lads. I'm like, guys.
James towering over both of us.
How tall are you, James?
I'm 6 foot.
And Joe comes in and he towers over all of you.
Yeah.
Who?
I'm Joe.
No, not even in the slightest.
So you're 6 foot?
Yeah, but I think I've got an extra inch with the hair.
Yeah,
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you make it to PowerCon so we can all stand next to each other, take a nice photo.
Like a mock-up like the Usual Suspects poster. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I'm all for that. Here is a question for James. This comes from NW3. How many animation cells are in James' collection, and what is his favorite?
How many cells are in my collection? Well, I mean,
what was the peak number? Because I know you've been selling off.
Oh, the peak number was around about. God, the peak number was probably, I reckon, somewhere in the region of 19,000.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
You greedy bastard!
No, that was
our episode.
Second, Jason.
About enough number to animate an entire episode.
Yeah, probably. But it was
that's crazy.
You don't say.
It was one of those things where initially, so again, going back to the early days of the internet, late 1995, I was searching for anything, and He-Man came up more and more. And I remember like finding an online auction house, and they were selling He-Man animation cells. I was like, and it said like not available to people outside of America. But I remember just seeing animation cells, thinking like, how do I get my hands on one of those? And then it was, I reckon, about 90, I want to say 96 or 97. It's again so archaic. Even though eBay was in its infancy, I was on a news group, and someone was just selling a cell. And this is how it worked back in the day. I'm selling a cell for $120. I go to the travel exchange, get $120, put it inside an envelope, send it to America. About 3 weeks later, an animation cell comes back. It's just all trust back then.
I was gonna say the trust. Oh shit, pond! I caught that motherfucker.
Oh, I just saw Joe's penis.
I caught it quick too. That's fast reflex.
At least you see, and look at you now.
Hey, at least you see I got pants on, so I'm not nude here. Everybody's like, you don't wear pants.
The one time Joe's like, I should probably wear pants this week.
Could you imagine sitting there just fucking underwear? Oh shit, there went that.
What a nightmare that would be.
There. Look at all the disease down there. Oh my God.
The Mr. Bubbles can only do so much.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The camera goes down. We're like, why does it have eyes? I don't understand.
Oh my God.
It looks like
and
that.
Jenny's thinking like, Joe, that wasn't your best look. You know, we
Christ.
Or he's actually wearing pants, but the hole is so big that his dick is just hanging out.
Yeah.
Well, now everybody
has like an oscillating fan in his pants. It's just kind of.
Jesus Christ.
Well, anyway, James, back to the whole, hey, you had to have trust back then. But you're right about that, though. Because money orders. Tyler and I were doing money orders on eBay back then.
Or even buying figures off He-Man.org. You had to just like, hey, all right, they don't have any violations. I'll send you money for a Men on Card figure.
I would just send cash in the post all the time, and every time I got the item that I ordered or paid for or whatever. And but in those early days, it was just so impossible to get animation art. So I got this one cell. I treasured it. It was like it was 2 cells on a background. Just like, it's the most amazing. I remember just looking at it every day, just this one cell, and just be like, this is the most amazing. It was He-Man and Orko in the background on like a random Dragon Invasion background. It's like, it's the greatest thing ever. And that was like the first time, again, this thing wasn't out there. It was like, oh, there's numbers at the bottom of the cell. Oh, that's weird. It's just like, don't know what they are. And then about a year or two later, I got Zadok had the book. He sent me copies of Animation by Filmation by Michael Swanigan. And I was going through, and at the time I bought a couple more cells, and I had one from The Taken of Grayskull. And, on the bottom, it just had MU30. And I hadn't thought about it. And I just suddenly was looking at Michael Swanigan's book and like the list of He-Man episodes. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I counted, and I was like 30. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I can figure out the order of episodes because I've got the cells correspond to these. So I was going through the book going, well, this must be the right order. Cosmic Comet 1, Shaping Staff 2, etc. And you work your way through. And then I was just going through the cells going, oh, I can actually start, and eventually started buying them. Then some random guy, Lee Clevenger, emailed me from America and said, oh, I've got this, I've access to the Filmation warehouse. And back then I used to get so many bollocks emails about I can get you, whatever you want animation wise. So I was just like, yeah, that's nice. Good. Yeah, nice work. and he goes, what kind of stuff would you be looking for? I was like, oh, Problem with Power, Sweet Bee's Home. And literally, I think the following day he sent me like a small, it was like a really crappy JPEG, but this was 1997 or 8 or whatever, and it was of like Cell from the Problem with Power. So I was like, oh my God! I was like, how do you get these? He's like, I have access to the warehouse. This was when the warehouse was at its most untouched, unblemished. It was amazing, and he just and then a couple of years, I think 2001, I went over there, got in the warehouse, went through, and spending a fortune on cells back then, like to be able to cherry pick and go Chakotay, they'll be like, that's $225. It was just like, okay, lucky I don't have lucky I don't have a good job. So I was just like spending all my money, and then and then what happened? I'd accumulated a bunch, and then when I was working on the YouTube channel, the official YouTube channel, they would pay me some money. It wasn't great. I mean, it was fun, because I got to work with Dushan. We had a fun time doing that.
Or Do Sands. Because I remember how, Do Sands remastering, because That's how you pronounced his name back then.
I just didn't know yet. We'd never had that conversation. It was like,
and that was the first time I even heard of the guy. Like Doosan, like who the hell is this Doosan? Well, he does good work if James trusts him. Yeah.
And don't you remember the first time I pronounced his name properly? I remember Tyler saying, "That's not how you say his name." I was like, "No, it is." He was like, "That's not how James says it."
James says it wrong. We did the worked on the channel, and then like I kind of we kind of boasted that's enough of the channel, and then as not as payment, but they said, "Oh, we've got all this artwork just outside of London. Do you want to have a look at it?" I was like, "Okay," and it's just like boxes and boxes of cells. I was like, "Oh my god!" They're like, "Just take it because we're going to chuck it otherwise." I guess I'm taking these then. And
I love how James just stumbles into all this stuff. It's just like
Tyler's like, "Where was I this whole time?"
I'm here in the States. I'm here. I'm like, "Oh my god, I wish I could see this." And I'm like, and James is on.
Well, no, that's the funny thing is, and I've had that conversation with people. It's like, how have you been able? Like, how does a guy in the UK able to access all this stuff that an American should? I was like, I don't know. Like, I guess because I've worked hard over the years to establish like a reputation as I'm the Filmation He-Man guy and I can preserve it myself. So when for instance that god awful Hero in the Land of Legend, I got that along with a bunch of other stuff because someone goes, "You like Filmation's He-Man, right? We've got a box of art. Don't know what's in it. It's just from the Filmation sales department. All yours for $500." I was like, okay. Didn't know everything that was in there, but in there was the promotional artwork of He-Man doing Eye of the Power, the lightning around him that was on got randomly had the lightning cell in there. I was like, what? Alan Oppenheimer's credit from The Secret of the Sword was in there. I was like, okay. All that Fred Carrillo like sales department artwork.
That's cool.
Stuff. That's the famous charge pose where he's like running with the sword and he's got the shield on one hand.
Have that framed. Yeah.
Just like I got the original line art for that. I was just like, bloody hell, it's just all in there. Loads of random artwork, and it was just just someone saying, "We've got a box of He-Man artwork. Do you want it?" I was like, okay. So yeah,
I was like, "Oh, good."
Sure. I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but
that's the thing. I'm sat here, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's like 10, 11, 13 boxes. I don't know around that just got like. I need to rearrange it. Every few years I sort it out. I need to sort it out again. But in answer to the question, yeah, a lot. But the other thing is my favorite one is probably the.
I forgot he was answering a question.
That was a question.
Yeah. You said the I Have the Power one is your favorite? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah, it's because that was the one like I thought, I'm never going to be able to get that cell. And then, I got randomly, guy in the UK owned it. Was like, I've got it. Do you want it? I was like, yeah, sure. Well, we did the deal in like a coffee shop just outside of London. It was proper like shady, like, you got the money?
Yeah.
The money.
Right.
Do you want a coffee? Spills it. It was amazing. I like got that cell. I was just like, wow. I remember thinking, oh, I've overspent on this. This is stupid. Why did I buy this cell? And then as soon as I got it home and like looked at it, I was just like, oh shit, this is phenomenal. It's like the I Have the Power cell. It's not the one, it's the one, which I kind of always liked a lot. It's a keyframe, it's not an in-between where he's doing it, it's just that he's holding the sword forward, he's got the face of I Have the Power. Just like, yeah, I think I've peaked.
Well, James, do you have anything you wanted to? Oh, I'm sorry, Nathan. I was going to say.
Oh no, I was just saying in regards to like after he's got that, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah,
he doesn't hold any cells up of Azrog in high regard. God forbid.
Back to those cells that Classic Media gifted to you, like that stuff was at the same warehouse where the film reels are, right?
Yeah. It's just it's we've talked about it before. It's just the classic example of a massive company, a corporation that doesn't know what they own. As simple as that. It's
film reels and music tapes that La La Land Records used to make their release.
And bear in mind that was just He-Man. There's obviously stuff for Brave Star, Filmation's Ghostbusters. Not that anybody wants that stuff, but like loads of stuff there that's just sitting in a warehouse. Like that was what 2017, 2018 I was last there. God knows what's happened to that stuff. And it's just you know, I've said to people before, it's like you have to understand that Universal, all these big corporations, they're not your friends. You know, I know people will find this hard to understand. Mattel are not your friend. They're selling you a product. Mm-hmm. That's their job. Yep. They're not doing this because they like to make people happy. They're going, buy it. There's nothing wrong with that. They're a business. Then it's not like a fan project or something like that. It's a business. And again, there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, they're doing it wrong, but it is a business. But
yeah. But like
poorly.
With Universal, for instance, they own He-Man. He-Man She-Ra is this big, or like the Filmation library is so minuscule. So their attitude is, what's that He-Man and She-Ra shit doing? It's like, well, it doesn't. The old stuff isn't making us any money because we're not really doing anything with it. It's just like, no, just leave it then for the moment. Oh,
which is all the more ridiculous considering that Universal literally has a filming studio designed deliberately to make trash movies, like Rob Zombie's Monsters movie. And Woody Woodpecker that was only released in Latin America. It's like they literally on the regular basis they waste millions of dollars, but just can't be bothered to HD remaster Masters of the Universe. These are really weird people.
Well, obviously, I think you guys spoke about it. Universal owned Bionic 6. Do you think anyone at Universal knows what Bionic 6 is?
No.
Nope.
Of course not. It's like, unless someone goes up to them and, like, I think I mentioned when I was in the chat the other week, like Mill Creek, or at least one of the people who was working at Mill Creek at the time, they were looking to get the Bionic 6 license, but I guess it never come to fruition. But they were close, and it was just like, I mean, it would have been probably, you know, Mill Creek were known for doing quite budget releases, but it would have been released.
Still, it would have been out there.
Yeah,
I think you would have had a lot of people buy it, but it's just that thing of like now, unless someone is actually actively pursuing the license, these companies aren't going to, you know, I just think of stuff like GoBots is on, like the entire series of GoBots has been released, right? It's like,
and in remastered form. And it's like every episode uses correct footage, unlike Transformers.
Transformers is butchered, you know. It's nuts.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, in more ways than one.
Continues to be butchered.
But yeah, I just, and it's not me. I'm not being critical of people that buy products from Mattel, but they just need to understand that
it's okay to be, James. I'm just letting you know.
I know, but I understand from a business point of view. But it's I think there's so much misconception these days from the fan base. They're like, oh, we love Mattel, and it's like you realize it's the same Mattel that, you know, did this a few years ago, and it's that was different management. It's like, actually, if you probably look deep enough, it probably wasn't different management. And it's, you know, Scott Knightley gets a lot of the blame, and it's like in a few years you'll be blaming the different people for the same reasons, and it's just facetiousness. It's like, I can't, you know, and
it's more of because these people are getting replaced with worse people.
It's
well, also these guys too are not at the forefront as much as Scott Knightley was, because I feel like he was putting himself out there so much in classes. These guys, along with the cartoons, are pretty much in the background. You don't know who they are unless you did your research or listen to a fine podcast like this one here. You would never know who's making the fine, dumbass, boneheaded decisions behind the toys and all that.
With Rob David, he'd literally push people in front of him like Ted Biaselli and Kevin Smith and be like, these guys are the geniuses, blame them, not me.
I never looked at it like that before. But yeah, the Scott Knightley's biggest problem was that he wanted to be everyone's friend. And it's like, you've got to realize you make decisions at that level, you're going to take shit. And unfortunately, I spoke to him before over the years, but I think he's not the kind of personality that deals with that well. That's not me attacking him. That's actually saying that I don't think in his position, I'd probably be the same. I'd be like, how dare you dislike the return of Faker? You stupid person. And it's one of those things. I think when you're at that level, you can't try and be everybody's friend, and you can't be like, we're making these decisions for you, because the moment you get criticized, you're like, but we're friends. And that's what people need to realize. It's like Mattel are a corporation. They want to make money. they will make as many products as they can until they realize there's no market for it. Even if you want a few more toys, you're not going to get them. It's like Mattel are doing the best things ever. It's like, yeah, you're enjoying them. There's nothing wrong with that, but understand it's a business. Like they can put whatever logos they want over it, Mattel Creations, you know, Matty, all this stuff. It's still a fucking business, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Again,
like it's similar to how people act regarding the actors and actresses. Like to most of them, it's just a job. It's nothing more than that. So when you ask them, "What's your favorite episode?" they can't tell you because
Simpsons,
they're just not invested like that.
Yeah.
It's that, yeah, it's, you know, I get that people that are working on the brand probably do enjoy what they're doing. Of course they do, like your Axels and whoever's designing the toys and stuff. Those people thoroughly enjoy what they're doing because they're getting to work on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. But yeah, it's that thing of, you know, there is a degree of cynicism in what they're doing, but isn't it the funny thing though? You go back to the 1980s, we were just buying toys, you know, once a year. There'd be a new wave, and you'd be like, "Oh, I want a Clamp Champ or a Sorceress, or, you know, a Mechanic or a Two-Bad." I'm working backwards here, or you know, whatever, Beastman, a Merman, whatever. And these days, it's just this weird mindset of must. I actually saw someone moaning the other day about having to buy all of the Origins line. It's like, I'm sorry, where do Mattel have a gun to your head? If you feel you have to buy every toy, that's on you. That's your thing. You know, it's so weird.
Maybe I attribute that to the that whole just fear of missing out deal.
Yeah,
because
I buy that.
You know, like classics came out, and we've said it before. A lot of those people are like, "Wait, there was a classics line." You know, so now it's their time to catch up. Or, you know, you run into the thing where you got the guy that grew up with it. Yeah, I remember that. I had some of the toys. Oh, they're bringing it back. Oh, and that mindset. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of different types of collectors. But yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's like quality people. Like, look at it. Look what you're spending your money on.
Well,
like,
Deucin, you supported that pig slop, so you know.
Yeah, but I only bought the
you
good
have
stuff.
Nothing to say here.
I didn't buy the
You left the rebellion.
figures.
You're no longer part of this great rebellion.
I mean, look at Joe there. Joe bought the Sandman figures.
And Joe's part of the problem too. He's out there going,
I love him. I get all of it.
He's full of shit, is what he is. He won't come out and just own. He likes the lack of quality in toys today.
I love Origins. I gotta get them all. God damn it! I got the addiction.
He buys every one of them. He even bought that shitty Orko from the CGI cartoon.
I know he did, and you know what? He's going to continue to do it because he likes pissing me off.
I wanted to thank
you'll
Nathan
never
for
see
that.
me do that.
Thanks for that. Thanks
you
for
went
that
and bought that
Orko from the
shitty He-Man
CGI
figure.
Wait, now wait.
Not that bad. It's actually decent.
It's not decent at all.
Decent.
I think Nathan. Go ahead, Nathan.
No, I was gonna say, like, after all this time, now you're gonna genuinely thank me for getting you that Orko?
I did thank you genuinely when you gave it to
my
me.
God.
I said, thanks a lot.
I was here when you thanked me. It could not have been the most like. Thanks. So anyway, let's get back to the chat room.
I didn't mean it like that. I really meant to thank you. It just came out the wrong way, but I swear I was genuinely thankful.
It came out as ass.
Tyler and Tusha said at the same time.
Well, speaking of thanking, I want to thank James for being here. But James, before we wrap it up, do you have anything you have to promote? Anything that you got going on, or auctions or something, or
Serial
anything?
Geek. Serial Geek.
Your channel, your YouTube channel, everything.
Oh, no, nobody does the Patreon thing except the good people.
Do it.
Do it.
No. Finish that wonderful thought there, James.
People subscribe to Patreon. Give us your money.
All of it. When you put it like that.
Better give us the money than Mattel.
Yes. Do it in that order. But yeah, obviously there's the Serial Geek TV YouTube channel. I'm currently working on a He-Man related video for this weekend.
Is that the one that Tyler told you? Hey, you should make that as like.
No, not the Star Comics one. The Star Comics one.
Yeah.
That's not for a few. That's not for. I think
that's gonna be way down the line because James has got a lot of these already in the can. So
it's crazy. Like the Star Comics one came together so nice, or it's coming together so nicely. But the one this weekend is a He-Man related one. But I won't spoil it. It's a bit of a deja vu situation when you see it. You'd be like, huh. Anyway, I'll get to it. But yeah, Serial Geek TV, and yeah, there's a Patreon connected to that. You can see the link for in every video. I think that's pretty much everything, isn't it?
Okay. Well, just double checking.
You're still having fun with it, though, right? Like,
God, yeah. I mean,
okay.
like,
we love the content. It's always behind the scenes stuff and information that most people have never heard or didn't know about, and that's what I love about it. And you go so in depth, and it's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, that's pretty much it until Germans come in and say, "Hey, we want to upscale Bionic 6. Would you like to help us?"
Please.
Yeah.
Everything changes then. Yeah. I'll be like, bye channel.
I think there are good chances of that because I'm pretty sure the cartoon was actually popular in Germany. So
I think you're right.
With some luck.
No, I think you're right about that.
Over there, it was even titled the $6 Million Man Family.
Family, yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's
I forgot about that. But yeah, I think that's the channel is like a wonderful, creative outlet, and just a way to keep things ticking over, really, and just it's been really, sometimes I'm up against it. Like this video, I'm still working on. It's like I've got to get it done by Saturday. And it's like, oh, I will be able to. I'll finish it tomorrow. But I like that pressure as well. It's like, I finished a commentary track for an episode that will go live. I think it's like January 2025. So it's like a year and 3/4 away.
Well, you got yourself all set up.
It's not like, don't get me wrong, not every video is done to them, but I was like, I'm going to do, it's the time corridor. I thought I'll do the time corridor, and then, ironically, the time traveling episode, I thought I'll do that, and then that could be episode 118 of Serial Geek TV. So it's up there for the future.
All right. Well, James, thanks for joining us, like always, even though you are part of this show. But you can come on, like I said, as many times as you want, because you're part of the show, man.
It, man. Thank you.
We'll get you part of the intro at some point there.
Yes.
Oh, God, there goes douching going to start this shit. But if you are new to this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
I don't deal with psychos. I put them away.
Oh,
sounds familiar.
I feel like I know that. Wait.
Oh, I know. I know
like
Nathan and Joe. I know for sure have seen this. I don't know about Deucin or James. Maybe I'm sure they both have. They probably both have.
What part of the 80s that was from?
Mid 80s.
Or it's a Chuck Norris line, but God damn it, I don't know. Shit, I don't know.
Fuck. Is it a Stallone movie?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Cobra?
I was just about to say Cobra.
Shit.
Yeah.
Do you know the fun fact? Never seen Cobra.
What the fuck?
You love that movie.
All right, well, all that shit we were talking about putting an intro off the table.
Yeah.
I just thought like it sounds like a very Stallone line, and then I thought, what film I haven't like? I know Rockies, I know Rambo's, but I was like, I've never seen Cobra. And
you'd love to see. Is that free anywhere, Nathan?
It was released right after Beverly Hills Cop because Cobra started out as Stallone's rewrite of Beverly Hills Cop.
That's right.
Yeah, it came out in '86.
HBO Max here in the States. It might be different for James.
That's nuts. Sorry.
Do you have HBO Max, James? If you can give it a shot.
No, I can.
Maybe they got a free trial.
I can stream Cobra anyway. I've got.
I don't think he's worried about. He's not like you, Joe. Where he's like,
my cheap ass. I'm trying to find anything free.
Yeah,
I've got
pennies like that.
I've got a way to watch it for free.
Yeah,
there you go, right there. All right, that's great for your hair, great for your body. Get some. Jesus Christ.
We're all rubbing it in here, Mr. Bubbles tonight.
Get some rest, James. See you guys next time. I love you, Jenny.
Oh, okay. Wait, you caught me off guard. I got shit to play. Hang on.
Yeah, but it was great. It was fun, and I'll see you all on my balls.